Hi, friends. I'm in 2 StreamYards at once. It's like magic. How's everyone doing? Very excited for the reunion of last night's a very interesting Sequester Mini, I felt like. I was on edge the entire time. You know, sometimes you just go into a normal mini and you know what to expect. Last night, really had no idea what was going on. Kudos fly to Audrey for keeping us on our toes. We saw about, I don't know, maybe like 15 new twists. Maybe like 10. Well, some of them are the same. Like 10 new twists. But like I feel like a lot of them will come back and be utilized again because there were some really interesting ones that we will get into today. Let's bring in our first grouping of the wonderful cast. And we have a very good group. I think we have like 16 or 17 people from the cast on today. But here is the first group. Hello to Luke, Adam, Madison, Mike, Andrew, and of course, the winner herself, Molly. Hello, Molly. Congratulations. Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are we doing? How is everyone doing this morning, this afternoon?
Doing good. How are you?
A little hard.
Exhausted.
Yeah? Tough night all around. Did anyone get a solid night's sleep? Anybody?
Not at all.
Not really, no. Not solid. 3 hours.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
That's Sequester hangover. Well, of this grouping, I feel like, only Mike has played a Patron Mini, right? A few of you have played private minis.
Grouping,
I have 2. I played 2. Yeah.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, I was fresh meat in the pure sense of the word.
Literally.
Same here, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we are moving closer and closer to when it says fresh meat, it is kind of fresh meat if you disregard the private minis. But like for the most part, it is newer people. We're not seeing too many repeats. But how did we all feel getting into the game, seeing the videos, seeing our starting rooms? Were there any initial opinions?
I can go first. So when I came into StreamYard, Rayanne was in my group, and I actually just played a mini with her the other day. So when we saw each other, it was just like nice to have that sense of comfort. And I genuinely liked my starting room. I thought that I would be able to go far with them.
You know, I was surprised when I saw Rayanne because I'm just getting into the community, but I had seen a game that Rayanne played in. So when I saw her video, I was like, I know her. But I feel like that didn't come up. I feel like she was like, a big, name, a big player. And I feel like I didn't hear that coming around. So I didn't want to be the one to say like, hey, that's like Rayanne, right? But I feel like she was able to get through without that really coming up, which was something that, I was like, wow, she really navigated that.
Yeah, I had the kind of classic feeling of just feeling safe in my own room, just staring at those people for the past hour. But also I really liked their intro video. So it was Madison, Owen, and Rayanne. And I wanted to work with them all. Madison, you went out round 2, robbed. And this being my second mini, I felt a lot more comfortable rather than nervous going into it. And right after my intro video was Jill with the G's intro video. And I actually played my original mini with her. So just knowing she was in it was pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, Jill is in our starting room. Luke and I were in room 5. And when I saw Jill enter, I got really excited because I've seen her play before and I'm a fan. I think she's great. So, hey, Rayanne.
Hey.
Hi.
Icon for a moment.
Arrived from the grave. I'm finally awake. I got like 4 hours of sleep.
Relatable.
Honestly, I loved our starting room. Billy and I had chaotic energy, and that is on period.
I noticed that too. I was like, all right.
I was trying so hard to sorry. I was trying so hard to entertain myself because you're literally sitting there for like an hour doing nothing. I was like,
oh my gosh,
what can I do? Started doing some TikTok dances, started doing like little it was cute. It was a cute moment.
Oh, I was really
on.
You can go first.
I started off in room 4, and it was me, Flea, Noah, Ryan/RJ, and James. So once we started talking, I felt like that was a pretty even-killed, kind of even-minded room, and I knew that they were going to look out for me. In those first couple rounds, they were. Unfortunately, I couldn't find them as much as I wanted to, but I think starting off with such an even-killed room almost like put me into a false sense of security. because I was like, okay, everyone's playing this kind of, you know, smooth pace, even killed, and all of a sudden it was just like bam, bam, bam. So I think I started off in a place where I was like, all right, we're gonna take this easy, and that was wrong.
Yeah. I was in a starting room with Yankee, Greg, Keaton, and Jill with a J. And I just recognized like I had an advantage right away in the sense that we had 5 and I knew not all the rooms did. And so I figured, you know, if we could keep that starting room together,
Right.
we would do really well there. And so like thankfully like our videos just meshed really well and we were excited about working with each other from the get-go. So that was like a really good group for me to start off with. I was really happy about that one.
Oh, in my starting room, I had Mike and Madison, but before the game started, I was the first one in the room, and Madison came in, and the first thing that happened is we just cracked up laughing because we played a game together like 2 days before. So that was really exciting. I'm usually not loyal to my starting room, but I was planning on being loyal to Madison. Sorry, Mike and Owen.
You're bad.
Yeah, I was really during the videos. I was really excited to see Billy since I played an org with him before, and we're really close. So, if you were wondering why I was defending him all the time, that's why.
Molly, I just want to say that your intro video was awesome. I wrote down spreadsheets and I underlined it. I was like, yes, spreadsheets.
Thanks.
Yeah, I was like, I think I need to learn Excel now.
Yeah,
Literally me.
But speaking of videos, really quick.
Last night, it was the love of spreadsheets. I feel like
Yes.
people love spreadsheets more than
I
they
took
did
a whole
previously.
college course on spreadsheets last semester.
So good. I just recently, because I'm a teacher, right? And so my recent project has been taking all of our assessments and quizzes. And since we're doing online school right now, and I'm worried about like academic dishonesty and stuff, doing spreadsheets that are programmable so that all the problems are unique to each student, but then programming the grading so that I can do that within the spreadsheet. I just copy and paste the grading rubric in and it does it all for me. So spreadsheets have like legitimately been a friend to me during this pandemic. They've been so great. So I was excited that they got to take a seat at the Sequester table. It's great.
Legend.
So
Well,
going
if we're
into the... Oh, go ahead, Madison.
Oh, I was just going to say, if we're going to talk about videos, I want to talk about Luke's video because I was so happy when he said that he loved High School Musical because like the night before, I was doing karaoke night with some people and I literally sang the start of something new. And so when I saw Luke, I was like, I have to tell him that like I'm a big High School Musical fan, so we could like work together.
Baby, I bop to the flop. Hold on.
Look, on the topic of videos, I want to apologize to Sequester Nation for having a vertical video. That will never happen again. That will never happen again. I get it. Never again. I apologize.
Justice
was not
for
my
vertical
birthday.
videos. Justice for vertical videos. Anytime I do a video, I always do it, and it's always vertical. And then I realize at the last second after it's all set up, I'm like, it's vert. Now I have to do it all over again. It happens
No,
every
this is
single
the
time.
first time I did horizontal as well. So
Has there ever been a
Fan
vertical
base out
video
there
alliance?
dragging the verticals.
I feel like people go home because of vertical videos, so.
also,
Now I know.
speaking on videos, like just in general, I think I told Louie about this before. I was about to talk about you, Owen.
Let's go.
Like I was talking about to Louie the night before, being like, "Oh, I haven't played since like 5-1. Like I don't think people really remember me." And then the first thing Owen said was, "I'm just here to be on Podquester," and I was just like, "Fuck."
Yeah, you were not getting that past me.
It did. It warmed my heart. That entire starting room, I will say before we go on to talking about the big twist of the night. Room 1, I posted on Twitter. It's my favorite room of all time. Like, very clear that Rayanne was there. And then I saw Madison and my heart stopped because, you know, I feel like a protective dad after Hunger Games. And I was like, okay, well, let's hope she does well. And then Owen, I didn't really know you well, but you put it, the video warmed my heart when you mentioned Podquester. And Mike, I knew was a big fan. So I was totally on board with Room 1.
That tweet totally jinxed our room.
No, yeah, it didn't. It didn't
No, I appreciated it.
I jinx everything I do. So. So what did we think? what was our honest opinions going into the game about? Obviously, everybody wants to play Sequester, and you want to have a game that you can get your mind around. Going into a game that you really had no idea what to expect, being that it was kind of different from any Sequester previously. Do we have any opinions on that? Were you excited? Were you disappointed?
I was stressed. I'm gonna be honest. On it, like when she said, I was literally going through like my mind. What could this mean? What could this happen? Does this mean like there's gonna be a wheel every round? Like someone's gonna get wheeled out every round? Like what's gonna happen? Like honestly, was so stressed out. However, I did like it. I thought it was a quirky little twist.
I had like my own prediction about what the twist was going to be like. I thought it was going to be a wheel on every room, then those people would be up for, nomination, so to speak. But it ended up being something different, and I wasn't too worried about it, but I expected it to be a fresh meat mini. So I was like, oh, what is this?
I was excited about it because I now can call it the Wheel of Doom mini instead of 822, so I don't have to remember a date. That's nice. I don't know. I feel like it made me nervous because I feel like I was expecting like a straight up game, and I feel like that's something like I've seen so many times. I feel like I could handle, but with the wheel, I just got nervous. I don't know. I think wheels are stressful.
I think we were the best group of guinea pigs for that. I feel like everyone handled it pretty well.
We were all game for it for sure. Yeah.
I'm very happy to be part of the guinea pigs that tried out this test because I do think that we're going to be seeing it again. But we're the OGs,
And the wheel twist? Oh, you go first, Madison.
I had like a freak out when I saw it because I was on a Zoom call and I was just going through Twitter. Then I see like Sequester Access posted something on Twitter. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Look at them promoting. And then I see Wheel of Doom and I was like, Wheel of Doom. And then everybody's like, are you okay, Madison? And I was just like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm not playing the mini tonight. And like, I just get so scared of just like how I'm going to do in the game and just like having this added element that's just random. Yeah.
I thought it was a good start too, because I mean there were some twists on there that were just your average normal run of the mill twist. The fact that it started like the first one it landed on was the Johnny Stockton one kind of made you feel like legit anything could happen. I legit thought I might be going into the game and nobody told me. Like I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I overthought it so much after like they said the Johnny Stockton thing. And I thought it was just going to be like fun little twist that shout out to people in the community kind of thing. But then when they said, okay, like if his target is eliminated and he goes in, I was like, well, my name's on there, but they would have to tell me, but what if they told someone else who could just come into Podquester and host? Because I'm going to be there, right? It's not like I'm not, I'm unavailable. So then it kind of threw not only y'all into crazy tailspin, it threw the entire community into a crazy tailspin as to what was going to happen next, which I feel like was a lot of fun for everybody to watch. And it was very fun round to round to see what was going to happen next.
Louie, I don't know if you remember, but on Friday night during the stream, you mentioned that you were getting the itch to play again. So going in, I already thought you might be playing, and then seeing your name on the wheel, I was like 100% Louie is coming in here at some point.
Yeah, I thought that was going to have something to do with you coming in. And then the first one being like the Stockton twist, I was like, oh, that's probably what that twist is. But no.
And then like there's 22 people in the cast. I thought that it was so weird that there's 22 people. I don't know if anybody else caught on to that.
I also thought that was weird.
Yeah, I prepared like a nice little chart to like put everyone's names down, and I only had 20 spots, and they hit me with the extra players, and I was like, my chart, it's ruined,
So to go into the first landing of the wheel being invest in Stockton, what was everyone's? It's such a weird question to ask, but like, what's everyone's opinion of Johnny Stockton? Like, did you know who, like, did everybody know who he was? Were you all just confused? Like, who is this random guy that might come in? Like, what was the thoughts there?
Well, I've podcasted with him before. So I was like, what?
I know you know. We know you know him.
Yeah, so I was excited. I didn't really want him in, though, because I kind of wanted to be the big meat shield, though.
Well, you helped get him in, Rayanne.
I just knew, wasn't he like an early boot for First Winners at War?
He
I
was.
think that's all I remember.
He was,
That's
yeah.
all I remember before.
Winners at War 1 was one of the first games that I watched from like start to finish. And so I'd seen that, and then I watched Quester too, which if you haven't seen Quester, it's very good. It's fun. It's worth watching. But he was in that and organized it. Private Mini.
I mostly just watched the Survivor one. Somebody called me out for using Survivor talk and language. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Keaton.
Oh,
I'm
I was
sorry.
just gonna say. I mean, it was fine for me because I was like, oh, another shield. Because like, realistically, nobody's gonna want to take him to the end, and then we just kind of kept him around for a while. The only twist that I didn't really like, I don't know if you guys agree with me, was the Brayden twist.
Oh
I don't know if that's skipping
Oh,
ahead too much because like
the haunting of Smudmint Lauer.
yeah, and I personally don't know him at all, but like most of the twists are like okay, you know, it's like okay, skip a tie. That's like a game rule, but like something like somebody coming in and just kind of like fucking with the game, fucks with any potential strategy. And I'm like a strategy player, so like I'm like he could just pick on somebody theoretically if he wanted to and just be like, oh, this person's going home, which I think he might be doing the opposite. Like he'd go to a room and like say the opposite of what he heard or something like that. I'm not too sure, but that was my least favorite one.
As a fan of Brayden, the entire time he was in the game, I was just trying to get into a room with him. That was my only goal. So it kind of threw me off a little bit.
I was trying to leave every room he was in. Swear to God.
No, I played with him before, so I know what he does. So I just jumped every time I saw him.
I'm still kind of curious what his rules were, because I don't think it was ever specifically mentioned as to, like, he was going into rooms saying he had LOSs, he was going into rooms saying like he had votes, and I don't know exactly what the parameters were of Brayden's game other than just being a ghost. Because knowing Brayden, he was probably making up a lot of stuff, but we don't.
He had votes.
Yeah, I didn't really like that he had a vote.
That's the thing. It's like, yeah.
I don't know, for one round at least, my strategy was to the mute round actually was to follow Brayden because he was the only one that could talk. And so I knew that if I wanted to get good information, that following the one person that could talk would be really great. But it kind of reminds me, if you guys ever play like strategy games with Secret H or things like that, the one thing that annoys me more than anything is when somebody doesn't like want to really play the game and they just want to mess with it, because like a game is like a social contract and you're entering it assuming that everybody's playing to win, and that affects the strategy of the whole thing. So when you have someone that's coming in, it definitely throws a wrench in it, and I think it's totally fair game, and I'm glad we had it. But it's definitely something that was difficult to navigate because they don't have the same end goal that you do of like actually wanting to win the game. So that was definitely a twist. That one was harder for me to deal with than the Johnny Stockton one, especially because the Johnny Stockton one came up so early that it didn't really affect the game other than just adding a player kind of early on.
I felt that way about the first twist too. Like, oh, this isn't a twist that can really affect gameplay because the outcome's going to come later. We can just pretty much decide who goes home at this point. And then that's when everyone started moving.
So going into round one then, it ended up being a straight vote. And obviously, Adam, unfortunately, you ended up going home first. How did we get to that conclusion? What was everybody thinking as we unmuted for the first round?
I was afraid that Billy was going to be the obvi target, so I just tried to throw a name out as fast as I could, and I chose Adam.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't sure where Adam came from. That was the one I heard the most and I went with because it was majority. I think the starting room was Billy as well just because of the video, but we had nothing to go off of.
Yeah, I think we started with Adam and just moved from there. And then it was interesting because for more rooms, that's the name I heard as well. So that's just the only reason I went with the majority.
I did not vote in the majority, and I'm going to be honest about that because Adam and Billy were both in my starting room. So I was like, this is kind of boring. Don't really like that. Not really quirky. So I'm pretty sure I voted for Owen. Ooh. But anyway, yeah, I did not vote in the majority. However, I did know the majority was going there, and I felt really, really bad.
No, that's fair. I figured that was a very good possibility. So And then it was confirmed because I started hearing my name around, and then the round ended, so it was kind of lost.
For me, I didn't see Adam the whole entire time, and I really wanted to talk to him because, like, I think I knew Adam beforehand, just like the tiniest bit. Like, I followed him on Twitter, so I really just wanted to like at least try to help him out. But there's just no way that I could.
Yeah, thank you.
Adam, do you think, I mean, obviously it was very short-lived, and we always say, like, those first couple of rounds, it's so hard if your name's out there. It's really just based on nothing, and it's hard to avoid. Is there anything you think you could have done different, or it was just basically a lost cause from the jump?
I mean, I almost certainly could have fought for myself a little bit harder because I knew it was a chance going in. So when I would enter rooms, I was, still sort of reserved and I wouldn't actually say much. And I really feel like I should have been pushing more names because why not? I have an opportunity there if I figure my name's going to be out there to make a little bit more of an impact. And I also think that, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I feel like we did stay in our starting room a really long time. And it took us a long time to decide on somebody. I was actually the hour leading up to the game, I was totally fine. Then once the game started, once we got into the little countdown timer, I got really nervous then. And I was like, I don't want to say any of these names. These people are all great. So I was in that mode. I wasn't in target people mode. And I should have shifted that a little bit quicker.
Do you plan on playing again? Do you think you'll be back anytime soon?
Yeah, I would love to play again. I would really, really like to get another chance. I had a blast. I'm a huge fan of the game. I've been watching since May, and I try and watch as many as I can. Usually hang out in the YouTube chat, Podquester chat. So it was really, really cool to play, and no hard feelings from anybody in the on anybody in the cast. Like, I totally get it. Someone has to be first. So if that had to be me, that's how it was.
It was great to see you play, Adam. It was very. I always love when anybody from the chat who we talk to on basically a night-to-night basis actually goes into the game. So it was really.
It was awesome. A lot of fun. I had a great time.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I'm sure we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Adam. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. All right, so that brought us to round 2, which was skip the tie. It was like Audrey was getting everything she wanted early in the game. Like, she put out this twist where, I mean, it's a chance, obviously, but a smaller chance that it will in fact go to a tie with that many people. But it did, and it cost Madison, unfortunately.
Can I just say sorry for that?
Yeah, what's your problem? I would have been in this game if you. I'm joking.
I just played that LOS on myself. I'm so selfish.
Well, so it started out as after that, it ended up being majority rules, which was Sequesterbot's favorite animal, which went koala. And then after that, we had the LOS used by Keaton, and then it went to the wheel because of it. Jill and Andrew were safe from the wheel because that was the tie. And then it ended on Madison. So let's talk a little bit about that in terms of finding the animal that we went with and how the vote went.
So I immediately asked Molly what her spreadsheet was saying, because, spreadsheet queen. And she said zebra. So that's the one I started spreading. And throughout the whole round, I think that's what I was pretty much pushing. I heard a few other ones. Then I think I ended with Molly, if I'm not mistaken. Then she said, no, I heard more koala. I was like, well, she was the one who started pushing zebra, so I ended with koala. And then Andrew, I guess I told him zebra, so my bad, dude.
Yeah, I got in a room alone with Mike, introduced myself, what's going on. He said zebra really confidently, so I was like, all right, this is it. And I switched rooms, and I did hear a little bit of koala there, but I was like, nope, I'm going to stick to zebra. And then, I flopped. I missed it. And that's when I lost my confidence, because I was like, damn, I got left out of this one, which means I'm not having those conversations with enough people. And I think that's where I kind of started to bog down. But that was a mistake.
I was being 100% honest with you, though. When I said zebra, it just is switched for me at the end.
Yeah, I believe you.
Honestly, the first word that I heard was shark from Rayanne. And I was like, you know what? I don't think that's it. And so I kept hopping and hopping. And then I heard somebody say koala. I don't think I was supposed to hear koala. But I heard it anyway, and I just kept my lips shut and used the word koala.
Was Koala like a Billy thing, or is that just a happy coincidence?
That was a happy coincidence, I think.
Do we know who came up with Koala?
It was Genki, wasn't
Could have
it?
been Jill. Doesn't Jill have like a plush that she had? I don't know. My original room said lion.
There's also
and then
someone from
spring carrot,
Australia
and I was
in the
fucking up.
cast, which I thought would immediately mean that person went with
Right.
koala, but I don't think it was.
So I thought that too. I was in the spreadsheet room, and then I think someone came to our room and was like, hey, we're supposed to only tell our room and your room that is koala. I jumped around, and then the last thing I heard was koala, and I just like hoped and prayed. And thankfully, I was on the right side, but it didn't matter.
Every time I've been watching this twist, either in playing it or watching it, it's gotten so much more chaotic. I know the first few times it was done, it was just kind of the same word kind of prevailed no matter what in the majority rules twist. But now I think what's interesting is like you have this tendency to want to start off strong in your starting room and all get on the same page. But I knew after we had picked Zebra that we had stayed there too long and other things were getting traction first. So I was very willing to switch my answer, knowing that, you know, we had stayed way too long and just didn't have enough time to spread it. So I think part of the key to that round is the speed. Like you need to have something, have it fast and go spread it like wildfire. Because if you don't spread it, it's never going to get enough traction to even be the majority.
I started in a room limit, and then I hopped, and then the first word I thought of was sharks, just because Sequester bot always talks about sharks, but then no one in that room had picked a word either. So I ended up hopping again, and then I heard koala from Billy, and I thought I was like, okay, I'm gonna stick with this. This is good. I love koalas. Did a 4th grade project on it. But then Hannah jumped in and said, everyone's saying lion, and I got so scared. So I ended up hopping onto lion.
So after that, it brought us to, so the nominees that did not vote for koala were Rayanne, Keaton, Hannah, Jake, Isaiah, Jill, and Andrew. And Jill and Andrew got the most votes. Oh, well, Keaton got the most votes. But the next two were Jill and Andrew, who tied and were safe, and everybody went on the wheel. Now, Keaton, you went on the wheel as well, correct?
Yes, I did.
You did.
I was gonna. That was the first time where I'm like, if I just played that accurately, and then I get on the wheel and I get out, I was gonna be so fucking mad. I was gonna be so mad. But I was statistically, it wasn't gonna be me, so I wasn't sure. But I just thought it'd be cosmically funny if it was me after playing the LOS.
I feel like for the odds of it happening, the person who plays the LOS and then goes on the wheel does have a higher probability. I feel like we've seen it at least 2 or 3 times that the LOS player ends up going home by some random occurrence on the wheel when they get put up there. What was everyone's thoughts when the wheel came out? Did you automatically have a very bad feeling that it would be you, or were you confident that the odds were in your favor?
I kind of felt confident that the odds were in my favor. I'm like, it's 1 out of like 21. It can't be me. Come on. It can't be someone I'm working with. But then it was Madison. She was in my starting room. Super bummed.
I feel like you hear like so much about the wheel, and there's just like so much like suspicion and just like I can't think of like the word, but like as like I don't know, like I hear like all the time like people like referring to the wheel as being racist. Like there's like a deaf spot in the wheel, and like I was on the deaf spot, and I was so nervous, and like I could see like the wheel moving from Noah to me, and I was just hoping that like my magical powers would just stop the wheel, but no.
Baby, when that wheel came up, my nipples got hard. I'm gonna be honest. I was like, oh shit. Like I know, like statistics, like everyone's saying statistically, I did not think that like I was probably gonna go home, but there's always that chance. You never know. Like it's gotta be fate on your side. She was on my side, but still was really nervous.
Well, that brought the end of the game for Madison. I feel like everybody was brokenhearted. All of Twitter and all the people in the game were sad to see you go that early. But I mean, it was all luck. I'm sure. I know we'll see you again. You have all the skills to play a really good game. It's just a matter of when you choose to use them again, because that didn't really show much of what you could do. What were your thoughts, your final thoughts of the short-lived run that you had in the Patron Mini?
I was was really upset when I first got out because I was looking forward to this. I would set aside this day and I was like, I'm going to apply today. I'll play today and I'm going to play hard and try to make it to the end. And it just really scares me. I tweeted this on Twitter, but the first time I played Sequester, my power went out. The second time I played, I got wheeled out. My future doesn't look bright for me as Sequester, so it just makes me nervous. But I hope that nothing bad happens to me the third time I play. I've talked to somebody about this, and they're like, oh yeah, like 2 bad things happened to me. The third time was awful, but the fourth time I did pretty good. So maybe I need to play 2 more times. I don't know, but it was a pleasure being able to play with everybody. And I just want to say too, I don't have any bad blood because no one voted me out. So that's pretty nice that I can like the whole cast.
Madison, please play so many more times.
Play
Don't play 10 more times. Play like 10 more times.
3 times a charm.
I literally didn't get to meet you at all, but like I thought your video was hilarious.
Thank you
but
so
it
much.
just didn't.
Thank you for coming on, Madison. District 3 forever.
Yes.
Truly route.
Queen.
Talk to you soon.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. All right. So to get into round 3, round 3 was safe word. This was another one that threw me off because once again, I was like, are there other people coming? Because the words were names. And I was like, why would the words be names? That makes no sense. Those aren't words. Those are proper nouns. So then I started thinking, well, I immediately texted Susie and I was like, Susie, are you about to go in the game? Because her name was out there. The safe word was Frankie, which I believe is Frankie Cena. But yeah, how did we maneuver yet another new twist that nobody had ever heard before? Who had certain words and who was spreading those words?
I'd love to hear what else happened because I don't think I left the room.
I would like Luke.
So listen, baby. When I logged in to StreamYard this wonderful evening, I said my 3 goals are to play hard, play messy, and be entertaining. And I checked all those boxes. It was time for a messy mess. I knew that, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I had my room was Billy and Hannah. And like Hannah and I just formed an alliance, and then Billy and I just formed an alliance. However, I was sketched out by Hannah because I had a feeling that she had a lot of connections in the game. So instantaneously, I wanted to throw my word out to get Hannah to say it because I didn't think that she was truly on my side. Like I think she was playing everybody. So I was like, okay, she's got to go. Billy happened to be in the room. I kind of felt bad. I was like, ooh, maybe I'll go find him and like tell him that was not the word, so don't say it. But then I was like, nah. And then it got to the point where I was like, I don't want Billy to go home, so I'm just going to tell everybody the word. And if everybody believes me, then there's less of a chance that he'll go home. And, well, yeah. And I was safe. So, I mean, it kind of worked. And I don't know why everybody believed me. I really or whoever said my word believed me. Like, I don't know, but.
I didn't believe you for a second. It was just one of the only 2 words I heard. The other one was Genki, who told me his was a poison word. But I didn't believe you for a second. I just had nothing else to submit. But yeah, no, you were.
Because some of the people, I saw some people on Twitter were like, "Oh my god, like even I believed Luke." Like blah blah blah. I was like, "What?
No way."
So I started in a room with Noah, and I think he gave me a poison word that I ended up using. But then I saw Genki, and then that's the only other time I heard a name, just because I did not hear much that round, and I didn't believe him. And it ended up being a poison word. So I just went with the one Noah told me, but I didn't believe Noah either. But I had nothing else to put in because I didn't hear anything else. So
I hopped because my first room didn't have anything. And then I went, Luke was the first person I saw, and he was just so excited and happy and has had a lot of like really fun gay energy. So I was like, I'm going to believe anything he said. Then he said Susie. I was like, I'm just going to vote Susie anyways because I love her. And then I started spreading it. And
Yeah, I was in a starting room with Keaton, and that was after he played that LOS. So immediately, as soon as we went off mute, he wasn't saying his word. He was trying to find out what happened. He was like, "Who did?" And I was like, "Come on, we got to talk about words. Do you guys have the words?"
You and James? Was James already in there, or did he?
I think he was in there already.
It was just okay. After the last round, I was just like, so I shouldn't be here. I'm gonna fucking start playing because originally I was gonna play super under the radar. And then after like almost getting voted, I was like, who did you guys vote for? I have the word, but who did you guys vote for? Because I had the actual safe word. and I basically held it hostage until they told me who they voted for. And then James basically laid everything out like, hey, I voted for you in the first round, just like to have a name out there. And I trusted James for the rest of the game because he was so genuine with me. Andrew, I trusted you as well. Unfortunately, you got sniped later on.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah, I know. But I was able to trust that room, and then my allies came in. I don't remember exactly who. I think maybe Genki joined in, and I was able to give him the real word. I don't remember, but there were allies that came through that I was able to give the real word to, and that was it.
I saw it in his eyes. I was like, he has it. So we started getting a line of people trying to get into that room, and I was not budging. I was like, Keaton has this word, and he was holding it hostage. He really, really was. And I was like, we need this word, dude. Like, I need to go see what's going on. But he did not budge until finally.
He didn't need to. He didn't need to.
He did, yeah. So it worked out for me.
Oh yeah,
I think I might have stopped in that room very shortly, and there was a huge room limit, and I was like, all right, I'll just go.
I think Molly joined at the very last second. I tried to shout it out, but I don't know if you actually heard it before I got muted. I was like Frankie, because I was trying to save Molly then, and we just got cut off. But we got a decent chunk of people, I think, saved compared to. I don't think I left the room once.
Yeah, so the people safe were Keaton, Noah, Andrew, James, Luke, Genki, and Greg. And it seemed like this round, it was pretty much between Billy and Timmy being mentioned the most, and ended up with the Timmy elimination. Any thoughts on the actual vote there and who you were sending home?
I was in Protect Billy mode. I think I was the one who threw out Timmy, and it was the first name on the list that I saw. So I was like, let's do it. And I just stuck with that.
I remember going to, I think it was Rianne, and saying that I heard Billy, and then she was like, well, I don't want to get rid of an international player, and then threw the other name. So
At least another round.
So after the Timmy elimination, that brought us to round 4, which was the Room 5 curse. But the Room 5 curse tonight, or last night, Room 5 was not cursed. It was safe. Owen, Jake, Luke, Hannah, and Andrew were safe for being in Room 5. Does this, I mentioned this last night, does this put an end officially to the Room 5 curse? Has the curse been reversed now? And now Room 5 is the room to go to because they are safe.
I don't know.
It's too early to tell. I don't think so.
What was the room we were locked in? Because that
Room
one's probably
4.
Room 4.
Okay, Room 4 is the
But
curse
Keaton,
one.
we both, I mean, the people who got Room 4 made it pretty deep. So I feel like it was a
Four is
blessing in disguise.
lucky.
Well, I don't know if Luke would agree with that.
Anyway, any horror.
Yeah, no, if you think about it, I feel like the curse kind of just transformed to like a Final Destination type curse for yesterday, because everyone that was in that room did get knocked out almost, pretty close to in order. I got out, and then after I think was like Owen went not too long, Luke. So it's too early to tell. It might be a Final Destination type thing now, but curses are hard to break, man.
I don't know about you, Andrew and Luke, but when I realized I was in Room 5 when that happened, I was so annoyed with myself. Like, coming in was just like, never end up in Room 5 at the end of a round, obviously.
No, I was too.
Well, and then I looked around and I was like, oh my God, Luke, Hannah. I was like, who am I going to be up against here? Because I knew my name was floating around. So I saw Owen and I was like, this isn't going to be an Owen or me vote here. And then
no.
I was touched by an angel, girl. I was touched by an angel.
I thought for sure, okay, when she announced that we had safety, I was like, fuck yes, because I literally just snaked so many people. I need this safety right now because they're going to be coming for me. And I said, thank you, Lord Jesus, because you had my side. We had safety, and that was that.
So how did we get on to the Billy vote? Was there anything specific there in terms of how he was eliminated?
I don't remember really.
I think it might have been because he was just mentioned the last round, the previous round. At least that's to my knowledge.
What I was told, and I think it was RJ who was spreading it the most, or like started Billy, the Billy train. But it was just because he like survived a lot of rounds, and then someone said he was in an alliance. So I was pushing Keaton because I was back on to save Billy train.
A lot of people
Yeah,
pushing Keaton for a long time.
I think there were a lot of people trying to save Keaton this round though too, which is also why Billy went.
Yeah, I think Keaton, when he spread that safe word, I think he gained a lot of trust and a lot of allies with that. Once he gave me that, I was gonna be in it for as long as I could. I think that was just a good move for him to set him up later on down the line. And then those Keatons slowly started disappearing, and it started kind of just shifting into some other names there. So I think he did a good job with that one.
So that moved us on to round 5, which was the namesake of the night, the Wheel of Doom. And this ended with room 4 not being able to leave. So I was very curious as to how this was going to go, because at first I thought just 4 couldn't leave, but also nobody could go into 4, which put a whole nother wrinkle into it, in that you guys were basically set. I mean, it was pretty clear you would all vote together, but I would also assume that you would be at an automatic disadvantage, especially because at first your name had to flop on it, which everybody thought that you would be the only people you could vote for. And even though that was reversed, it's such a shiny letter that I thought you would automatically only vote for the people in that room. But after the successful LOS by Luke, it saved everyone in that room pretty much, and no one else got the majority of votes, and Andrew ended up going out. So
Which I didn't figure out how that happened.
Let me clarify.
Correctly. I didn't figure out how that worked correctly until after the fucking game.
Let me clarify for you.
I'm sorry.
You're
Go ahead.
good. So I knew that my name was floating around because Hannah was pissed. I was like backstage and like in one of the rooms, and I heard her throwing out my name like in the previous round. So I was like, okay, yeah, no, I know that I'm going. Keaton, I knew you were not getting like any votes towards you at all. So I was gonna play my LOS on myself, get our room to vote together, and like take out one of their numbers. And I played it up that I played my LOS on you, and I wanted to spread that around. Because like if everyone thought that I played the LOS on Keaton, everyone would be like, wait, what the fuck? Like I thought we were voting for Luke. These people aren't trustworthy. So I thought that they would all gravitate back towards me and like get my name off of the radar spectrum. So that was my strategy for the play. And I mean, it kind of worked because you saved me the next round from being a flop, but then I got flopped. So, I mean...
Luke, I think you did a fantastic job that round. Like, I was just sitting there, jaw dropped as a fan as I realized what just happened, because the only name I heard was Luke. And I was like, he played the LOS for himself. And then it was fantastic. Great job on you.
Thank you.
No, that was great. Also, Keaton, I actually did vote for you that round because I thought you were going home.
I didn't vote for you, Keaton.
Something I realized was like, because something I said was, oh, they're probably going to come for me. And then I realized, oh, shit, all 4 of them could vote for me right now.
I almost did too. I got really paranoid because Molly was all like, Keaton, they might go for a bigger target instead. And I got so scared. So I realized I had to jump on to either Andrew or you. But I decided Andrew last minute because I could use some more allies. I like this alliance that we made.
Yeah, no, I love the people in that room, and I really that was because my first alliance was to my starting room, and then my second one was that locked room at 4, and those are the people I was most loyal to. Plus James, I'd like to add, because he had my trust, and I know he's watching. But yeah, I was scared. I thought I was for sure gone that round because I had no safety. I didn't get a single LOS after that first one. And I thought Luke played one on me, legitimately, to the point where I lied to James saying, oh no, I don't know who played it. Which I was lying about something that I was wrong about. And it still came across that I was lying.
Yeah, Luke, that was brilliant. That was brilliant, Luke.
Thank you. I try sometimes. I really do try.
I actually wrote in my notes that I noticed how much James was protecting Keaton, and a few other names he was protecting Jill and Noah from what I saw. So I just wrote, don't trust James, just because I kind of saw the people he was protecting, and I was like, I see you. But I was out.
Let me just tell you guys that I did not comprehend what happened to me until I was scrolling through Twitter. I thought I was just collateral. I knew my name was out there, so I figured there was a few votes on me. But when I started seeing that it was a hit, I was like, they got me. It was good. It was genius. We should have tried to split the vote or something and try to get some insulation there. But everyone immediately dogpiled on Luke. It wasn't even a conversation. It was like, it's Luke. So everyone was chilling. I used that time to just talk to my room. And lo and behold, you guys had, and you know what? I think your play was a little overshadowed by Johnny coming back in. I feel like that play that you guys made should have gotten a little bit more props and kudos, but it immediately went to, you know, that Johnny reveal. So I just want to say that was, you guys killed that. It was genius.
And Andrew, I am sorry it was you that we. But I don't know who said Andrew, but I was like, okay, we have to snipe.
I did. And the only reason
we have to snipe somebody. We have to do it. So.
And the only reason we did is I was looking through the notes and seeing what names I heard a lot. And out of all the ones I've already voted out for, yours was the only one that was really left that I heard. Still going out through a lot. And I knew if we didn't do that it was going to be one of us. So
yeah, no, it was genius. No hard feelings. It makes me feel better that it was not a collateral random thing, and you guys, you know, went for it. So yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Andrew, did it make you feel any certain way that Stockton picked you, invested in you?
Yeah, I do. I wish she was in here. I want to know why. I saw Hannah said it was just because of my vertical video, but I immediately
he said he was looking for like under the radar players who seemed like they were going to play under the radar or something like that. I think was one of his choices. He said I was a second choice, and he's glad it wasn't me. And I forget who like his third option was, but yeah, that's
yeah.
what
See, I was trying to weaponize that twist the first couple rounds. I was saying, you know, I was trying to tell people that he was probably going to choose someone with a more subdued personality, someone that he thought would get out, you know, a little bit quicker. So I was trying to push that and trying to get that into people's heads, but you know, joke's on me because I guess my video came off a little subdued.
Yeah, Andrew, I thought you had made good inroads to actually go a ways, if not for the LOS play. Like, I think you were playing a pretty strong social game, but, you know, with the amount of twists that there were and, you know, what happened in that round, you really didn't have much of a chance after that.
Yeah, thank you. I went back to check out what you guys were saying on Podquester, and I forgot who said it, but they're like, what he needs to do is really just stick to a name. None of this, like, maybe this, especially when your name's being thrown around the past couple rounds. So the next time I come back, and I will be back, you're going to see a little bit different.
We'd love to see it. We love to see it. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Hope to see you again, Andrew.
I'll be back. I guess.
Cool. Awesome.
Legend.
All right. So that brought us to the next round. And the next round was just kind of chaos. I probably wasn't set up the best that both of these twists happened at the exact same time. But so in this round, Johnny Stockton did end up coming back in. But it was also landed on the haunting of Smudnip Lauer, which we discussed a little bit previously, which brought Braden into the game, not as a player, but as a ghost, in which he could just kind of create chaos for the next. I feel like he was there for a while. I feel like he was there for like the next 6-7 rounds. He was lurking about and trying to.
He was there until like jury, like right before
yeah,
jury.
I think it was
he?
originally 5, and then it got extended with Clarissa's choice, I think was the.
Yeah, thanks, Clarissa.
So it's like, I was like, you fucking hate us, don't you? Because like it's funny as a viewer, like as people have said, but playing around that fucking. Oh, I hated it.
Hi everybody.
Speaking of the man.
The man, me?
The other man.
Shut
Yes,
up.
we're on
The myth, the legend.
I am
We're talking
curious,
about.
I definitely feel we should get your kind of insight as to how did this happen and what was your experience like leading up to in those rounds, like before you went in and how you chose. Just give me the kind of before game for you.
Yeah, when Audrey called me and told me about the twist, I thought I was screwed. Like, no matter what, I was like, I'm going to come into the game. They're going to eliminate me immediately. I'm really thankful that you guys didn't do that, obviously. But I was really trying to contemplate before the game. Like, I was either going to pick someone who I thought like could go out really, really early, or someone who I thought would make it like pretty far in the game, but someone who I didn't think had end game potential to try to jump in around the final 9 or 8. I ultimately chose the first option of just trying to get in as quick as possible because I needed as many good relationships as possible. If I jumped in at jury, I would have been screwed even more, I think. So I wrote a few names down of people who I thought might have gotten eliminated early. Keaton was one of them. Thank God I did not pick that. And yeah, I chose Andrew. Thank God he got LOS'd out of the game when he did. I literally was playing ping pong over there, like just like wait, like by myself waiting, because I knew that round he wasn't going to go home because it was the round where everyone was trapped in a room and he was not one of the people trapped in the room. So I assumed I wouldn't be going in that round. And then Audrey came into the jury room. She's like, "All right, Johnny, it's time." And I was like, "No way." And then I jumped.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Luke. I appreciate it so much. When I was in the jury room, I got to look for LOSs. I didn't find a single LOS when I was in the jury room. I found all 3 of them when I was in the game, but did not find one in the jury room. And I sat there and I just talked to myself, like, I do. And I just sat there and I talked to myself for like literally an hour and a half, just trying to talk about all of you guys and trying to get myself in the right headspace to like jump into the game and play. Because like when you have like the hour before the game, you have like a lot of time to like get yourself ready and amped up. But like I had no idea when I was coming in, so I just like had to consistently be ready. And then once I jumped in, it was go time. Of course, whenever I'm in Sequester, it's like I'm a whole other person. So.
Now, did you have any certain strategy going in as to what you wanted to do immediately when you got in the game?
Yeah. I believe that one of the most important things, and I've been giving a lot of people advice over the last few weeks about Patron Minis in particular, there's a very specific way that you could get people on your side in these Patron Minis of who you've never met before. Private Minis, it's a little different because people know you. But I didn't know any of these people, so all I did was run around and just make promises like all heck. I made promises to almost everybody, and it was because I felt like I had no other option. So every time I was in a room with someone, if I had a one-on-one opportunity, I was making a final 2 deal. If I jumped into that starting room with someone, I like the first room I jumped into, I was like, guys, I'm so loyal to my starting room every time I play. This is my starting room now, so I got you guys. A few of them ultimately got eliminated, but I just kept trying to find reasons to partner up with people and make people feel like they could work with me. And then like I believe once I got FaceTime with every single person in the game, my name stopped coming up. Because I really just did whatever I could to make as quick relationships as possible with people. Like there was one round where I know Flea was in the tie. I was in a room with Flea and I was like, "Flea, I'm going to run around right now and like go save you. I promise." And I just like left the room because I wanted Flea to know that I was good with them. But, I forget what the twist was, but I feel like I had to vote for Flea in the revote. I think it was the history can't repeat, but like it's situations like that where like you just have to like find ways to make people feel like you're with them no matter what, because people can't cross-check in these Patron Minis. You don't have time to run around and be like, "What's Johnny saying to you?" Because all everyone's interested in is themselves. So like if you're just thinking about who you're protected by and who is looking out for you, people aren't thinking about what I'm doing. They're just thinking about how they could get themselves farther. So like that's what I try to capitalize on when I play in these Patron Minis. And it helped a lot last night. I was so focused on my social game. Like I normally don't come into these games with a strategy, but last night I knew my strategy was get to every person within 2 rounds and say something to them to make them stick with me, or else I'd be screwed.
Yeah, Johnny, I think you came in at the perfect time too. Like there was a lot of heat on Luke, and with you and Braden coming in, there's just a lot of general confusion. Like if you had come in a couple rounds later during the instant vote and didn't have time to make any connections, I think you're out right away.
I thought I was at that round to begin with. For sure.
Yeah,
and like we had the silent round and I know people were like doing J's and stuff. And then the instant vote happened and I was like, "Oh my God." I don't even remember who I voted for. I think I voted for Keaton, to be honest. And he was not even like a name in discussion. I just like didn't know what to do. And I thought I was screwed. That was the round where I really thought I was screwed. And I also played my LOS like the round before. So I like didn't have an LOS at that point. So yeah, that round I was really nervous. That was probably the most nervous I was the whole game.
So
And then-
to go into the round that we were on, so this was round 6 when you came in, which was Sequester bot coin, trying to get to 21. And Keaton, you got the coin. I think it wasn't a ton, right? It was like 15, 16, around there, right?
14.
It was 14,
which was interesting because that shows how spread out it was. Because usually it's almost always 20. Usually somebody hits 20. And I think 14 is the lowest we've seen as the winner in Botcoin since this twist came about.
Yeah, the original room, we were like, "Oh, we'll all stockpile them on Molly." And then I think the goal for me was like, I'm going to go ahead and like try to get as much on me as possible just to go over and just hope that one of us got it. And then I got it with 14 somehow. And Flea, I think this is where I told you like, hey, if you guys give me coins, I'm not gonna pick you. And I totally blanked on that, like whenever it came down to it, because I was getting rushed and I was in like some room without you, and I just had to pick some names of people who I thought had voted for me the round before.
Yeah.
I definitely gave you. I split my coins between you and Molly. So I gave you 2 coins and I gave Molly 3
Thank
coins.
you.
And I trusted you because you had given me, or I was in a room with you for the safe word, but I didn't use it because I didn't trust you at the time. And then it was the word, so I was like, all right, I can trust Keaton now. And then turns out
that was a revolving door.
It's so funny. It was accidental, and I feel so bad about it. And like, I made an enemy in this game for no reason.
And then it came to the other round where you could pick for safety, and I was like, all right, Keaton will make it up to me this round. He'll pick me for safety because he admitted to making a mistake. I believed him, and then I didn't get picked for safety that round either. So then it was all Keaton all the time. I was trying to push your name out every round since.
I don't want
If I can, go ahead, Keaton.
Oh, I just don't want to skip too far ahead, but I will try to explain the safety thing.
Yeah, so on this, so after you got the bot coin, you nominated Johnny, Mike, Jake, and Isaiah for elimination, and this was the round that Mike ended up getting eliminated.
Thanks, man. I actually didn't vote for you, and when you said Johnny, I was like, Johnny wasn't even in the game at that point, was he? I was like,
Yeah.
what is this dude thinking?
The words out of his mouth were, I'm going to vote for people, or I'm going to put people up who voted for me. So, Johnny, you're first. And I was like, huh?
Did you? Didn't you just say you did?
I just joined. I joined the game, and then you put me up like 8 seconds later. And I was like,
And
you fucking
the crappy thing is, someone else said Keaton to me earlier, and I was like, no, he's just been a regular target. Let's go for someone else. So I actually wasn't even going for you at all.
This is probably like the worst round I had. Outside of like ironically getting the coins, like I think that's probably the worst I played. And it was like the only time I straight up went for Johnny, because like after that I was like, I should probably actually keep Johnny around for a little bit. And that's where I started to become more friendly with him. But yeah, so this round is definitely where I was not the best.
Before we continue, I just want to say I think I was the one who volunteered Molly to get the coins because I wanted to put heat on her because she was the one that like didn't get anything going. So I was like, oh, if we're gonna make this alliance, let's at least make her like actually do some dirty work because everyone else's names were out. But I think she knew that.
I did. Oh, because you didn't. Yeah, that was. I could tell you were doing that. That's what I wanted to talk about just before we got too far ahead. Because you didn't ask. Like I know in games where I've played where somebody gets soul power, one of the things like that has happened to say, hey, who wants it? And no one said who wants it. They're like, let's just pile coins on Molly because you've been playing a super under the radar game. And I'm like, that's interesting. So,
I thought the same thing. I was going to suggest to you as well.
And so and this is why I went from that room immediately after that happened and found a new room and said, I'll take coins, give me coins, because I wanted to push myself over 21 so that I wasn't even close to an option. And that's one of the things I was talking about in jury, but I was like, I know if that's the game style I'm getting pegged with of under the radar, then I can't put this target on me right now. Like that's just not going to be something I can handle. So I tried to get that off of me pretty fast.
Legend.
So
Absolutely.
how did we get to the Mike elimination there, Mike? Is there anything you thought you could have done differently, or because Johnny was actually protecting your name for a little bit, that I saw, and was trying to keep you safe.
Yeah, so it was interesting because I pretty much told the room I started with, I wrote your guy's name down, just protect me. I'll put my life like on the line for you in the game. And I don't know if they even worked for me or not, but when Audrey said you have 1:45 seconds, and immediately I was like, fuck, I have like no time to like get anything. So I just went to as many rooms and tried to stay safe. And then I think I heard James said, Mike, your name's out there. You might want to go save yourself. And immediately the round ended. So I was like, fuck.
There were a lot of short rounds last night, I will say, where it really did come down to like whatever the first room that you were in decided is like what I ended up voting for. Because we did not have a lot of time with some of those rounds.
Yeah, and I felt like super like calm and relaxed up until that point, and then my nerves kicked in, and I was like, "Fuck, man!" But but there was not. I felt there was nothing I could do just because it was a minute and 45 seconds I had. So
I was trying to pitch Johnny personally. I mean, love you, brought you in the game, but
well, thanks. Lou.
Yeah, I literally was trying to do that because I was like, okay, let's just send him right back out. Like, I feel like that's like the easy decision right here. Like, we don't have to think about this. Like, he literally came in later than all of us. We started together. Let's get him out. But then, of course, there's the inverse strategy of, oh, meat shield. They won't go after me. They'll go after him first. So, I mean, I see both sides. But personally, for my game, I would have just taken him out, and I did. Well, I voted for him, but.
I think I was trying to protect Johnny that round because his name was going around, and I felt like Johnny was good for my game since I knew him.
Yeah, I was up, so I was up and we had a minute 45. So I just threw out Mike's name because he was not me. And so I was like, it's got to be someone. I didn't want to pick Johnny because I trusted him because he popped into our room first. So I was like, all right, I'll try to save him. And I pushed Mike because.
Yeah, I threw out your name, Flea, just because it was a name. And I didn't want Johnny to go either. I was like, he just came in. That'd be so shitty. So I did throw your name just because it was a name. And it just didn't get enough traction. So good on you.
It's also so tough in rounds like that. Like, you literally have to just rein your group together and have the balls to be like, all right, can we all do this? Confirm in 4 seconds or less, and we all need to leave. And I did that on like a lot of occasions last night. When she tells you don't have much time, you have to make time. So like, you have to make yourself enough time to jump into 2 or 3 rooms before the round's over. So that way you could at least like spread what you want to spread, which is hard because like I knew that, but like I don't know how many times any of you guys have played. So like maybe you guys didn't know that. And that just comes from like experience and something that you guys will learn over time, because I'm sure a lot of you are going to want to play again. I would love to give all of you my advice, of course. But I think that's really what it comes down to, is just like moving quick in those rounds like that and being able to push the name that you want. Because if you move too slow, like you only have 4 people knowing the name that you're actually trying to push.
Yeah, for sure. And
oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, you can go.
I was just gonna say last night was interesting because I felt like in a few cases, which you don't typically see, it was kind of a name comes out in one round and finishes up in that one round. It wasn't necessarily people, the same names coming out every single round, it being the same group. Like a name would come up for the first time and would be out that same round, which doesn't always happen.
Yeah, I liked that a lot last night too. I was really impressed, honestly, with like the trends that the cast was going with, because like I know Keaton's name was out the very first round because Audrey like told me. And when his name was out there, like he obviously made it all the way to the final 2. So like when stuff like that happens, like I think that just like says a lot about the cast and like their willingness to be like adaptable to the situation and just like throw out different names and make the game exciting. Like so many minis, like my first mini, it was like one name and another name, and then the person who went home went home, and then the other name just became the prime name for next round, and it kept happening like over and over and over in 522. And I'm so happy that didn't happen last night, because it just like it showed a lot about our group, and I feel like we got a lot of good props for our game. Like a lot of people said they liked it, so I'm always a fan of that.
Absolutely. Mike, what do you
822 best mini of the weekend.
Mike, what were your thoughts on playing again in the night overall?
I enjoyed it. I didn't get as far as I did the first time, and I do love my first mini, 613 shout out, love you guys. But this was a great cast as well. Molly, I think you're an amazing winner, great representative. And
Thank
the whole
you.
cast, so much love for all of you, and hope to play again a third time. Maybe third time's the charm.
It always is.
See you again, Mike. Thank you for coming on.
Yep, always a pleasure. Have a good one, guys.
All right, so this brought us to a round that was my worst nightmare. And Luke, I will tell you why. I've said this before in multiple commentaries, is that in a round where you can't speak, you don't want your name to begin with L, because it's just so easy to make an L. And I am scared to death. I probably shouldn't even say it because I'm just putting it out into the world, but I never want to play with this round because I think I'm done. I think it's just automatically because it's so easy. And we saw it last night with you that everybody was just making L's all across the board because it was very easy to show. How did you, why did you, was Luke the primary target? Did anybody think it's easy to make an L? Let's do that. What was the thought process?
I saw the mute round pretty early on in the wheel, and I decided right then that Luke would be who I was going to push. And then when the mute route happened, I did that. But then I got into a room with Luke near the end, and then I felt bad, and so I voted Owen.
Yes, thank you.
I got saved for kind of the opposite reason. It's because it's very hard to make a K with your hands.
I tried.
I know people were trying to, but they were not good at it.
I
know.
I was so ready. I had a collection of pens with me, so I could make like N's and K's and all sorts of weird letters with my collection of pens if I needed to. No, well, you asked me first, sir.
Get him!
I heard you say my name in the second round.
I don't remember. Anyway.
Anyway.
No.
But I didn't,
no,
by the way.
I went with Owen because I think you had thrown out my name before, and I think the only time I actually voted out an ally was James at like the final 7 or whatever. I was usually on the wrong side when my allies got out of votes, and that was about it.
Yeah, my first thought there was obviously the easiest letter to make is an L. Second thought was the second easiest is an O. So it was a little scary, but.
Well, I'm
sorry, Hannah just came, and I just need to say you're actually real, and I'm really excited about that.
I don't know how to respond to that. Thank you.
You're a real human and not a mole, and I'm very happy. And we can go back to talking about the round, but I'm really happy that I can actually see your face.
Did people think I was a mole?
Oh no, just me because I never saw you.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Continue.
Well, I'm glad to know that it was only because my name started with an L that that's why people went for me. Because I honestly was there to play. I really was. Like,
you were so high energy though. I like your intro video. I remember was just like big like energy. I loved it.
That's all around.
All
All
the time.
Yeah.
But that's how you have to play too. Like you have to have so much energy when you play a game like Sequester because you need people to want to play with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't have people that want to play with you or like want to keep you around or they think you're fun, then they're just gonna kick you to the curb.
Yeah. I always preach that, like when I watch initially, not even just the intro videos, but like first round, you just get a vibe from people, right? You just get a vibe of this person can talk and this person is a character and this person will make an impact in the Sequester world is what I always look at. And I think, Luke, for me, you were the one that stood out the most to me last night as that character, as that person who will, continue on if you choose to in Sequester and be, quote unquote all-star in the field is what I thought.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
You're a big personality.
Y'all gonna make me cry. Hold on. I was literally in love with Luke the second I saw you, and when you then made an alliance with me and Billy, I was like, oh my god, yeah. And my game is so loyal. Like I literally like my starting room, whatever alliances I make. So the second you messed us up, I literally no tea, no shade. Well, kind of tea, but I literally threw your name out every round.
Maybe I knew. Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the rebuttal. I got the loyal vibe from you. However, I genuinely felt like you had so many connections in the game, and I thought that I was on the bottom of your like connection spectrum. So I genuinely thought that you were gonna come for me first, which obviously was my own paranoia, which is fucking stupid.
Oh no, I felt so screwed that I didn't have any connections.
Oh, not the different perspectives. Hold on.
I love paranoia. We love my anxiety.
Oh my gosh. But no hard feelings. I love you. Every game is a new day. Let's turn a new leaf, flip the chapter over, turn to chapter 2, and move forward.
Yeah. So Luke, do you plan on playing again? Are you gonna stick around and throw your hat in the ring?
Abso-fucking-lutely, bitch. I think that I came, like I said it in my tweet, I've said it like 1,000 times. I literally came for 3 purposes and I achieved all of those purposes. Now, next game is going to be those same 3 purposes plus make it a little farther in the game because I flopped. But at least I know that I got taken out and I played a good game and I made a name for myself. And I'm just so like overwhelmed with how like supportive and loving and like accepting the community is, and I'm so excited that I took the jump and like joined in. I love all of you guys forever and always, and hopefully you guys will see me play some more minis in the future.
We look forward to it. Thank you for coming on, Luke.
Thank you for having me. I love you guys so much. Mwah.
Bye, Luke.
Bye.
All right. So that brought us to round 8, which was the instant vote. So I was surprised, honestly, because I did think this was going to go Johnny, because it just seemed like it's such an easy thing to do. And I hadn't heard your name, Owen, that much. I really didn't think your name was out there, but you got the most votes. And then there was you did get an opportunity to try to change that, but I feel like it's very difficult to try to change that, A, in that short amount of time, but B, also to try to, have people figure out what you were going to do if you had the deciding vote. What do you think happened there? And did you think after the initial vote, did you think that you could change people's mind on the revote?
Yeah, I was hoping it would be Johnny, but I had put Johnny's name out the previous couple rounds and got like absolutely no traction, just like deadpan stares every time I brought him up. So I kind of thought it might be me, and then just thinking about the chance to save myself, I think, like, thinking back, I think the play is maybe to go to 2 rooms and just say, like, I will do your bidding. I'll take out whoever you want. Just give me a name, keep me around it, and I'll take out someone for you. But obviously, like, it's super tough to change everyone's minds in 2 minutes after they've all just voted for you. So I didn't have high hopes that I was going to stick around after that.
Yeah, I feel like that almost goes back to the thing I was saying with, like, when you have that super short amount of time, what you need to do in those situations, and what I say a lot when people are in trouble, pick a name that you're going to push, because you don't have the luxury of not pushing a name when you're, like, a flop in the game. So, like, when you're at that point, just be like, if you guys vote no, I will take out this person. And if you jump to enough rooms and say it, that probably gives you, like, the highest probability of actually getting enough people to say no opposed to yes. I don't even think I saw you that round when you were campaigning. So for me, it was an easy decision.
Yeah, of course.
I was scared of you. I thought you were going to be so good, and you were good from what I heard.
I was coming for you the second you came in. So
I believe it.
I was going to say, I think that twist would have landed really differently in probably more of like an all-star or returning player cast. Because I think for a lot of people who are newer to the game, we kind of have more of this fear of like, we have like more of a propensity to the as long as it's not me strategy. And I feel like we were all looking at that saying, well, if we just say yes and have him go home, it's not going to be us. Whereas if we vote no, it honestly could be if we don't know where Owen's head is at. So, but in an all-star game where people are maybe a little more willing to look at this as an opportunity for them to get out a different target, I think that twist could have been really utilized well in just a different player. But I think that you had an uphill battle just being amongst new people. I think that would have been a really hard twist to swing in your favor.
Yeah, just speaking on what Johnny said too, like I think I got a little caught up pushing a few different names. Like I accidentally told Rayanne I was coming for the big players like Johnny and, oh, not Rayanne, sorry. And then I tried to push Flea a little bit too, but I think I should have just probably should have just picked Johnny and tried to push that. But
if we had gone no, who would you have taken out instead?
Definitely Johnny. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were saying Flea.
I knew he was fucking. I knew he was fucking lying. I knew he was fucking lying about taking out Flea.
Almost like I almost was like, fuck it, I'll give this guy a chance because I know he's going to cause
I
chaos.
actually voted.
Johnny, were you in the room when I said there's no fucking way he's actually doing that?
Yeah, and then I was like, you want to know what? You're right. Honestly, I have to say, you guys convinced me to do. Like, normally I operate on my own volition, but you guys talked me out of doing so many things. Like Molly specifically, and I'll get to it once we start talking about Jerry. But I was blown away with how much I got misted last night. Like as the game was going on, I did nothing right. But keep going. I forget what was being said.
Owen, what were your takes on the game playing for the first time? How was your experience?
It was overwhelming. I think I just kind of started to get comfortable as I got taken out, which is unfortunate. But like really coming in, I kind of meant what I said in my intro video. Like I mostly wanted to play just to like get a foot in the community, get to know some people. Like it didn't really matter too much how I did. I was super happy to last through a couple eliminations. So now that I'm a little bit more comfortable with it, I'll definitely be back and back with a vengeance.
That was going to be my follow-up question. Now that you have an open door to Podquester whenever you want, is there a reason for you to play again? But I'm happy to hear that you will be back. And
no, I've got the itch now for sure.
All right, awesome. I will say, I don't know if there's been an intro video that warmed my heart more than you saying that you just wanted to be on PodQuester. That made me feel very, very happy. So thank you for that. And it was a lot of fun to watch you play.
Thanks, Louie.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks. See you guys.
All right, so on to round 9, which was Clarissa's choice. Another one that we were all like, well, what is possibly going to happen? Still not sure if Clarissa was Jacob Jones. He was on the phone for a decent amount of time when Audrey was debating. But I can't see Jacob, the twist that he comes up with is extend Braden's stay in the game for 2 more rounds. So I don't know about that. But that's what it was. So Braden got to stay, and this was a semi-traditional round. If you vote for the person who goes home, you are up the next round. This was one of the many, many, many ties on the night between Noah and Greg, and resulted in Greg's elimination. So what do we have to talk about there?
Could we talk about Braden? Did we talk about Braden yet? Like as a whole?
Yeah, we touched on it, but not too in depth.
Like, did he? Because I barely saw him during the game. So like when he was there, was he just causing havoc?
I could specifically speak to this round because what happened is I was in a starting room with Noah and Braden at that point, and Braden basically went, "Noah, it's you," and left. and Noah was like, "Well, thanks," and kept it moving. But yeah, he was causing messiness left, right, and center. I was just glad to be there because I knew him a little bit, and Johnny, I knew you a little bit too. I don't know if you realized it. Yes, exactly.
I was jumping around a lot whenever he was
in the start.
I was jumping around a lot whenever he was there, but I think what he was doing was throwing out people who weren't on anyone's radar and was causing
that's what he was doing.
Havoc.
Yeah, no, I tried to stay in a room with him for like the first round that he was in it, and he would just say like, "Oh, you guys got to do something, you got to do something," and then it got to the point probably like the round after that where he was just holding up room spots, like. So I was just like, I'm avoiding him the rest of the time he's in here and just waiting for him to run out. That's basically it.
I was definitely in there when he threw out Noah's name. And then he tweeted at Noah later and said he felt bad for him, so he flipped his vote on the tiebreaker.
I keep forgetting that Braden had a vote.
It is so strange. It really was a strange twist, but it was interesting because I mean we've seen ghosts in the past. We've seen that, but they usually don't have votes. They're usually there just to kind of get in the way of people. So it was, I think, I didn't feel like too many people made a play for Braden. I felt like Genki did a good job of that. I felt like he was one of the only people who actually like tried to make a relationship with Braden and basically went into a long speech about what a fan he was of him in the game in season 3 and all of that, which, I don't think many other people took the time to do it and kind of just wanted to get out of any room that Braden was in.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember who said it earlier, but I also made a point to just leave the room if he was in there.
I could never find him. Like, even if I wanted to talk to him, I felt like he was a ghost.
I think my favorite was a later round when it was just Jill, myself, and Braden ended up in the middle, and we ended up making a Jill sandwich with Braden in the middle. So I thought that was a lot of fun.
He's a very lucky man.
So after the tie between Noah and Greg was eliminated, and we moved on to History Cannot Repeat. And this was the round. So everybody but Molly, Keaton, and Jill with a G were nominated this round. And it ended with another tie between Flea and Jake was eliminated. So let's discuss a little bit about that. This is what, Rayanne, your name started to come up for the first time in this round when it hadn't really been mentioned up until then. But it still resulted in the tie between Flea and Jake.
Yeah, I was mentioned a bit in the beginning, I think, but ever since then, History Can't Repeat is like usually when someone tries to take me out or like an even number vote. So that's when I got scared. So I tried to just bounce around and push stuff. I think the person I pushed was like completely wrong though, because I pushed Genki.
Yeah. I pushed him too that round.
Oh yeah. I love you, Jill.
I love you too.
This round's always so, when it becomes a tie, it just becomes so crazy in the fact that you have to switch your vote, regardless of who you want to go home. You have to switch your vote, if you can even switch your vote, if you're not losing your vote and haven't voted for the person before. I mean, was there anybody left without a vote here that couldn't vote?
I had to vote for myself.
I had to vote on the tiebreaker. I couldn't vote for anybody.
Oh, I think I voted for somebody, and then I had to flip it to the other person because I couldn't vote for them again in the tie.
Yeah, I had to flip.
Yeah, me too.
I just knew that for both of the history repeats, I was safe. So I was like, sigh of relief.
I thought that too.
I felt bad because I was in the starting room with Flea, and I really liked you, Flea, but like I made that deal with Keaton because we had gotten pretty tight, and then the mute round you were going after him hard, so I told him you were, and he wanted to go after you, so that's why I voted for you that round. But then I had thrown a random vote on Jake earlier in the game, so when it came down to the tiebreaker between the two of you, I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a vote.
Yeah, I found out way too late that Keaton had way more friends still in the game than I thought, so
yeah,
I accidentally had this a moment during this round where James and I were in a room, and I think Flea jumped in, and I so accidentally was like, oh, James can't vote for either of you, so it's fine. And then James was like, yeah, I can't vote for you, Flea. And like, I like kind of blew up James's spot, and I actually think James's perspective on me completely turned that around. But I thought like Flea did not catch on to what I was saying, maybe. And I saw the look in James's eyes. I was like, oh, I just lost him.
So the thing was, Johnny, like I could tell 100% that it was not a purposeful thing. So like you didn't really lose me there, right? It was just a slip of the tongue. I wasn't sure if Flea picked up on it or not, though. So when Flea survived the round, unfortunately Flea, like that was why I went after you later, because it was like if she did pick up on that and she knows I'm not with her anymore, then I'm not safe. So at that point, it was, for me, my perspective playing the game was I was not afraid to throw out a name, but if I did, they had to go home, right? Like, and I was pretty good with that for the most part, except for Keaton. But Keaton, I told him I voted for him round 2, and we were tight up until final 7, which we'll get to that. But that was kind of my thing, was if somebody thought I was coming after them, they had to go. Like I went, or Mike heard me say that I was coming after him, so he had to go. Like, yeah.
So after the Jake elimination, it brought us to round 11, which was a new twist, 7th Heaven, where Keaton, you got to give safety to 6 other people, and you chose Genki, Molly, Rayanne, James, Jill, and then lastly, Johnny Stockton at the very final pick. And this was an important one because it was a double elimination. So there were a lot of people who were off the board. And with the double elimination, it ended with Ryan and Flea going. Flea, I was worried for you. I mean, from the very start, just because your name had been out there so much, I didn't see any way that you were going to be able to avoid it. But you still managed to avoid not getting the most votes, which I thought was really impressive, is that you were still only the second most.
Yeah, had it been a single elimination, I would have lasted one more round, but
I was so frustrated that Flea and Keaton were going after each other. Can I just say that? That was like, I didn't know how to, I could never find Flea to like let you know that I was working with Keaton, because Flea is my girl. Like I got her. But I just couldn't get that off of you as much as I tried.
I appreciate it.
I wanted you
really
around so badly.
People.
Thank you.
And I put my name as the Wheel King. I don't think it all shows up, but this is one of the random odds that actually came up for me in a good way. And I was like, should I show my hand with like who my closest people are, or should I not? And I was like, okay, double elimination. I need all my allies safe because they're going to be locked in with me. And I thought I had 5, and then I forgot that I had a 6th. And I was like, because I already decided, like, okay, Johnny needs to stay after that first time. I was like, he could go out this round. I was like, I want Johnny in for the merge. And then, that's how I made my choices.
This was really tough for me because I'm really close with Noah outside the game, and he was up. So I had to do what I could to get him out. And every room I went into was saying Noah's name. I actually ended up in a room with, I think it was Ryan and somebody else. I don't remember who. And I convinced them to throw their vote onto Hannah. Sorry, Hannah. But my thing was, I liked Hannah a lot, and I was in a starting room with Ryan, and I didn't care. I did care, but I needed to know what to stay. So if Noah stayed, that meant one of you two had to go, because I was voting for Flea because she might have known I was coming after her. So I told Ryan and whoever else it was that I was voting for Hannah with them, but then I voted Flea. But then it made sure that Noah stayed, and that was what was like a key part of my strategy, was keeping Noah around. And evidently Mike picked up on that, so I'm glad he went too earlier.
Flea, is there anything you think you could have done different to keep your name out of there in those middle rounds?
Yeah, I think this is my second time playing. The first time playing, I focused too much on like trying to figure out who was talking about me. And then my second time playing, I focused too much on like getting names out there that weren't me. And I didn't spend enough time like forming relationships with people. So I think I would have tried to do that a little better. Hopefully I'll come back for a third game and be able to do that.
Absolutely. I think you played really well. Are you planning to come back anytime soon?
I'd like to, yeah. Maybe I'll give it some time. My last game was just like 2 weeks ago with Molly, by the way. So congratulations again. But yeah, I'd like to come back. So
I hope you do.
I'm sure you'll see me again.
We'd love to see you back. Also, I was so impressed when making the
you.
banners today that you do have the Twitter at Flea, which is incredible.
I do. Yeah.
It's very impressive.
Whoa.
That is impressive. How'd you get a hold of that one?
There's the whole story behind it. It's not that long of a story. There's a teacher in Sweden whose name was Francis Lee, who registered this handle like back in the heyday of Twitter. And I emailed him every day for like a year. And he gave me the name. I just kept asking for it. And so I got it.
That's awesome.
Persistence.
Mhm.
I think I followed all of you.
Thank you for coming on, Flea.
All right,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Flea.
Bye, Flea.
It was awesome playing
Bye.
with you.
I feel bad voting you out.
In an alternate universe, hopefully we don't come for each other. Like,
All right, so that brings us to the highest even number votes round. This is
I have PTSD.
So, Johnny, you used an LOS in this round, correct?
I did. Yes.
Yeah, because this is, you had said in a confessional that you had, I think, 2 by this point. But this round ended with Jill with a J being eliminated, and it was a drag round. So Hannah ended up going as well. So let's discuss a little bit about the vote and also the drag.
Yeah. I mean, from my perspective, like, honestly, I didn't, at that point, one of the things I do when I play these games is like I build relationships with everyone. And then once I got good relationships, I just don't push names. So like when people were trying to figure out who to land it on, all the names that were coming up in my room were names I did not want to see go. And I also didn't want to be the person to deviate from the plan and people think I was deviating from the plan. So I tried to reel people in by doing the classic Charlie move, telling people I play my LOS at 11. It lets people not be exposed for the drag. And it also makes people feel better about me because I'm giving them like an olive branch essentially. And it also keeps me safe from being one of the names revealed at the drag. And like 95% of the time, someone will drag someone who voted for them. Noah. But someone will most of the time drag someone who voted for them. So if you do make a move like that, like obviously you have to have a little confidence in your relationships in order to do it. But I felt like with the people that I was in a room with, once I was able to like do that, I felt like I would be safe. And I told Rayanne was the only other person not in that room with me that I told Rayanne to do it. And I think I got 5 or 7 votes on me. I'm not sure what the number was, but I believe that's why the LOS play was unsuccessful because it felt odd. But I was taking the risk regardless because I didn't want to. I forget what names were out there, but I didn't want to do them.
So, Rayanne, this was the first time me and you ever even talked the whole game. I think. Because
me and Rayanne were already super tight, and I was tight with James.
Yeah. And it was me, you, Isaiah, and Hannah in the room together. And I feel terrible about this because the name that
Let's talk.
I don't remember.
Let's chat.
Yeah. I say this is what we have to talk about. I say Rayanne threw out Jill and said, and said that
It
Jill
wasn't even
will
me.
drag me. Jill will drag me if we vote her out. Is what Rayanne said.
I was trying to get the people I wanted out at that point was Hannah and James, because I haven't talked to them and I wanted Genki out. But Jill, your name, I threw out your name because you were in my alliance, but you were more of one of the under the radar players. So you weren't really a meat shield for me. I was more of a meat shield for you. So I felt like throwing out your name, like that wouldn't be like the worst thing. And I was able to convince them that they would drag me. And then my next goal was to find out a different plan. So, but I kept on running into Hannah, so I couldn't like figure anything out. And then I ran into Johnny, and then I jumped, and I was happy because I was hoping that it would land on one of the 3 of the other people in my room.
So see, the terrible part for me was like I had been working with you, Jill, so I didn't want you to go. But I mean, I'm not going to tell the room of 4 people that just said to vote Jill that, hey, I really don't want her to go. I've been working closely with Isaiah, didn't want him to get dragged. I've been working closely with Hannah, didn't want her to get dragged. So I was like, well, what can I'll throw my vote on the Noah, who's my closest ally. That way, if randomly a room had decided of 4 people to vote for Noah, he would now have 5 votes and wouldn't go. And Jill would get 3 votes and not go, and nobody would get dragged there. And it might have put me at risk, but I was willing to take that. And so imagine my surprise when Jill gets 2 votes.
Your surprise.
Yeah, I know.
Because I didn't hear my name at all.
Right.
All
Well,
game.
that's the thing is it was a starting room too, and so I got so stuck in my head about. So I played the Hunger Games mini like 8 days ago, 9 days ago, and so my mentor was Dan Alt, and he prepared me so well for this game. I didn't think I would ever want to play Sequester after, and so he had like literally listed out every twist and what to do if you got that twist. And all I had in my head was him saying, if you get even votes, just do 4. And then 4 is normally enough to get someone out. So when I was in a room of 4, I was like, oh, this is perfect. Dan will be so proud of me. And I was like, that's it. So I didn't try to campaign. I didn't try to do anything else. I was like, I just fully trust these 3 people.
Yeah, and I was operating. Go ahead.
What ended up happening with me was the opposite. Because I've been someone who has studied this game. I've watched since the beginning of quarantine, and I've watched almost every single night. I've watched Podquester. I've even gone back and watched the Twist, podcast that you guys did. I studied this game. So when I came into this round and I had 4, I was thrilled, but no one would come up with a name.
Oh.
So you guys just didn't pick anyone?
No one came up with a name at all. And I was like, I can't waste time. I got to go, So I went, and then I ended up in the room with Johnny. And that's when Johnny said, hey, look, I got an LOS, play it on me. Or, say my name and I'll play it.
Right.
And that's when I was like, okay, at least I won't get dragged.
Right.
If I do it on Johnny. I came so close to voting for myself that round because I didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
But then I didn't know what the drag would be like because of it. And so I stood with what, Johnny told me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it was all because of the fact of my starting room refused to come up with the name.
It was a weird risk for me because I didn't want you to go home, and I didn't want you to drag one of the other people that were in there. And so I assumed that another room would have come up with 4, and I was taking the risk that those 4 votes were going on me, but I thought that was a decent risk to take. It just, unfortunately, I didn't know Rayanne had also jumped ship, so, which was fine. We ended up, meeting up later, and we'll talk about that when we do, but.
James, that's so smart, honestly. I'm so impressed by that.
Oh my God, yeah.
Level of thinking. Like when I can't think like that when I'm in these games. I'm just like in go mode like the entire time. That's so impressive that you think like that when you play, honestly.
I knew too that if I threw a vote on Noah, and for some random reason he ended up with the most even, I was pretty sure he wasn't going to drag me.
I wouldn't.
Well, he might have.
No. I never would, ever.
I don't know. I just have one thing. So was anyone in my room at the beginning of that round? Because I think we actually decided to go for Hannah as a 4. I didn't think it actually went anywhere. I voted for Johnny when he came in.
My room decided on Johnny, and then I went to Johnny, and he said he was playing in LOS. So I was like, well,
yeah.
fuck that.
I also figured that would be such a round that people could get me. Like there was
Yeah.
no way I wasn't playing Valen that round.
Yeah. So
it was just weird for me because it basically my strategy required 4 people putting a vote on somebody that could have been me. But Johnny saying he had an LOS pulling votes, another room not coming up with a name, another room trying to put it on Hannah, but then not getting any traction, just meant that Jill had those 2 votes from my room.
I did the LOS thing because I didn't want Hannah to be up. That's why. I remember.
I can't remember what happened. I voted for
I was
Hannah.
so mad too because Johnny and I literally every round he was in his starting room was with me, and literally every round I'd be like, Johnny, get out of here, let's go.
We and Hannah were in a room with just the 2 of us, like at least 8 times, like at least. Like it was
one round. And the one round he decides to play in LOS and tells everyone to use his name was the one round I didn't see him. I was so pissed. I literally got off the StreamYard and I just like called Jacob Gibson. I was like, I can't.
The crazy thing, I'm so certain if you obviously like voted for me off of that, it would have been like a 11-way tie because all the votes would have been odd because Jill went home with 2. So if you didn't do that, we would have 100% had an 11-way tie.
So what would have happened at that point?
It would have been a revote for everybody, I think, and LOS would get negated. And then if there's another tie in that revote round, no matter who it's between, we go to the wheel. If there's no tie, then the person just goes home. So it would have been crazy. We would have had another tie.
God.
Miss Jill, what was your going into the drag? I mean, you really didn't have many options if you were gonna drag somebody who voted for you. What was your thinking there?
I was dumbfounded over the whole thing. I wasn't expecting to go because I hadn't heard my name out the whole time, except for when I heard it in the tie because there was 2 Jills, which I had a gut feeling that there was going to be 2 Jills because I've seen Jill play before and I've seen the other Jill play before. So that's the whole reason why the Miss Jill thing came about, because I work with kids. That's what they call me. So, and it was a quirky little thing about the whole nastiness thing.
I think you're Miss Jill forever now, by the way. Any future time. That's your thing. You are Miss Jill.
I'm totally cool with that. But my whole thing, I was like, what? Huh? Who? What? You know, it was just very shocking to me at the point. And it was so quick. And the only reason, Hannah, I'm so sorry. The only reason that my mind was just going a million miles a minute at that point, and I knew your name was out there beforehand, and we didn't really have a chance to connect too much. I wish we did more, because I think we have a lot of common, actually. But it was like, okay, Hannah voted for me. I know her name's been out there, so let's go.
It sucked too because Isaiah was in my starting room, and my starting room was Jake, Isaiah, and Timmy. And so Isaiah and I were the only 2 people left. So I fully trusted him, and I put my trust in James and Rayanne. So then when they said there's 2 votes, I was like, who broke it? And when I heard it was me and Isaiah, I was like, oh no, no one's coming for him. It's time for me to go. Goodbye.
I felt awful because like me and Isaiah we had been bonding over like music and stuff, and so had Miss Jill and I we've been talking about music and everything, and I was like, well, I don't want Jill to go, I don't want Isaiah to get dragged. Right. Hannah and I have been talking a lot. I don't want her to go either. If I throw my vote, somebody else will get 4 votes and we'll go
I felt so bad too because Jill, you weren't even like on my radar. Everyone was like, in my room, we were like, yeah, Jill, that's fine. So I was like, okay, I'll go with people. I'll be under the radar. I feel like I've been playing an aggressive game. Like, I'll go with whatever they want because I feel like I've been too wild. So this will be my quiet round.
Yeah, it's totally fine. I mean, it's my first time.
No hard feelings.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, this is my first time. Like I said, I've been watching since March. I'm a fan. And if you saw my tweet last night, I'm an introvert. I don't do this type of stuff ever. So to get out there yesterday was huge for me, and to be able to play this game with great people, and just have fun. I had such a great time, and I can't wait to do it again. Because I saw a side of myself that I haven't seen in a really long time, and I'm glad that I had a chance to do it. and finally be a part of this community. So I hope everyone keeps in touch because I really appreciate all you guys, and congrats, Molly. You were my ride or die.
Thank you.
were dead on. So I appreciate
You're
you,
great,
you
Mitchell.
guys.
I'm a big fan. I always say it, but like I never realized like going in who people are who haven't played before and that I've interacted with them. And then like you messaged me last night on Twitter. I was like, I know you. And I was so happy that you got to play and stuff. It was so much fun and you were really great.
Yeah.
Hannah, what were your thoughts on the night playing for the second time after being trained by the legendary?
Yeah. I think my first game that I played, I was so like caught up in just getting to jury, getting as far as I could. And then last night I was like, okay, I was so set up before with Dan with all of my connections because that game had pre-gaming. And this game, I knew
Yes, it did.
absolutely no one. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. But so going in last night, I literally knew no one. And when I saw Madison, I felt like I dropped all my cards on the table because my jaw dropped when I saw Madison because she was from the Hunger Games Mini. So I knew nobody. I was trying so hard to make connections and say so many other names that I think around like halfway through, it kind of started crumbling because I knew my name was out there a lot. So I tried to align myself with Johnny. I tried to align myself with people who were bigger targets. And if you heard me many, many times when people would say Johnny's name and stuff, I'd be like, can't we just keep them because then people will target them instead. And so I think it just kind of at that point, my loyalness got a little too far, but I'm glad, and I definitely plan on playing again. I literally tweeted out if I could apply for every mini for the rest of my life until I win, that is what it will take. I am fully immersed.
There's a
Hannah,
competition going for who's played the most minis, so you just got to get up in that category.
Hannah, can I just really quickly say, based on your intro video, you were the person I wanted to work with the most.
God,
I had you in big letters, like I want to work with her. I can connect with her, and I literally did not see you. So
I couldn't find you.
I know you didn't exist. Like I said, I thought you were the mole. So if we ever play again, I would love to actually get the chance to play with you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Molly asked me if you existed. I'm like, yes, she's here. She's wonderful.
I really did not know.
I wanted to talk to you so bad. I wanted a one-on-one because you teach kindergarten, right?
I do. Kindergarten.
My mom is a daycare worker, so I was like, oh my god, I want to connect so bad, and we just never got a chance. I was so sad.
And I'm a high school teacher.
Yeah.
That's why
Oh my god.
And I'm a center supervisor for a before and after school program, so I work with kids as well.
It really
Oh my god.
In another
I'm
world,
so mad.
what an alliance.
Thank you for both coming on, Miss Jill and Hannah. Thank you. Hope to see you
It's been a
soon.
pleasure, guys.
Yeah.
Talk to you
Bye,
soon.
guys. Bye.
All right, so that brought us to the first round of jury, which was again history can't repeat. Jill, I was so proud. I mean, I was happy to see you again. I was also so happy that your internet stuck it out this time.
Well-
I feel we were talking last night. Do you have the record for most tech evacts?
I might. I'm at 2 right now.
Yeah,
and
I
then
think
the
that is
first
the
time I was
record.
on PodQuest, I was supposed to be on PodQuest, it flew out. But no, I've upgraded my internet. I have a new computer. Like I was blessed by the IRS. So I don't know.
There's no stopping you now. There's no
There's
stopping.
no stopping me. I mean, this is my social life right now. So here I am. But
So
no,
let's talk a little bit about this round. Molly used her LOS successfully, and it ended up being another tie between Jill and Rayanne. How did we kind of get through this?
Can I talk about that for just a second?
Absolutely.
So when I played my last game 2 weeks ago, I played a successful LOS at this round. History can't repeat itself as well. And then I ended up going home the next time. And what I had kind of like, you know, those times when you're like, man, I really wish I had said this, but you didn't think about it in the moment. I had really wished, because back in like my last game, I had to vote out someone, like everybody else was saying Devontae's name. So we ended up going with him and he went home, but I wanted him to stay. What I realized I should have done was got everybody to vote on me, since everybody was going to vote on me anyway, so that I could have the sole vote and get out Tyler in that moment. And I really wish that I had the wherewithal to do that. So all game I'd been saving this LOS, and I was like, this is a great time to use it. I know that my name's going to be up here because no one has voted for me at this point. I've been safe a bunch of rounds thanks to Keaton. And I just hadn't heard my name. So that's when I was asking the people in my room, who do you want to vote for? My plan was to try and see what they wanted so that I could say, hey, if you put your vote on me right now, I could get that one person out. Unfortunately, I didn't realize at the moment that I only had the options of Jill and Rayanne at that point, because I wasn't going to take. Actually, no, yeah, I had voted for every single one of you, other than that. So I kind of had to finagle that, and I ended up voting for Rayanne there and forcing a tie. But I just wanted to see what I could do with the power, knowing I was going to play the LOS to begin with, and that's why I was asking people in my room what they wanted, so that I could kind of ingratiate myself to them in that round.
Molly, you had already voted for me?
Who? Oh, I'd voted for all of you at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Molly telling me she didn't even have that many options. I also thought I jumped into that room with Molly at the end of the round, and I thought she was filibustering me the same way I was filibustering her. And I thought that we were like having this little thing where she was like trying to get me out and I was trying to get her out at that round. But she played that LOS successfully, which was crazy. And then when the tie happened between Jill and Rayanne, I was protecting Rayanne no matter what, the entire way, all the way through, no matter what. So I didn't vote for Rayanne at that point, but I just told Molly that I did, I guess. And then it started this whole spiral story with me and Molly during the whole jury phase, which I thought was so much fun. Because I've never had something like that with someone before. That was just, it was I did not know that Rayanne, that was the point I was about to make. I had no idea Rayanne was even going to be in the tie. I thought it was going to be me and Jill. I did not think it was going to be Rayanne and Jill.
I left a room where everyone said they were going to vote for Rayanne, and I was like, I can't do that. I love Rayanne, and it blew my game up, but fuck it, I love Rayanne. So, I had a good time.
Yeah. I was going for Genki this round again, even though I've already voted for him. I was all like, you guys just need to do it for me. Like, let's do it. But no one was going on it. I'm not sure who threw out Jill's name.
I mean, I'm always
Molly, right?
I'm always in
What?
trouble in this round. So
Keaton threw out?
I would never have thrown out Jill's name. It was Keaton.
Yeah.
That one.
Oh, because you voted for Rayanne.
boy.
Yes.
I was in the
Jill was
room.
a girl.
He doesn't even know.
I don't.
Right? I
That
don't
was a
remember
hand.
anything like that.
I know what I did this round. I threw out Molly's name. I
I'll tell
wanted
you,
Molly
no.
out this round so badly
I wanted Molly
because
out.
the only other person that I wanted to vote for that I was able to, well, I didn't want to vote was Isaiah, and I was like, I don't want to do you.
No. I honestly, the only people I couldn't vote for were Noah and Keaton. And both of them knew I had voted for them. I hadn't voted for anybody else. And
My
they
room
said
did.
Molly, and I honestly, and we'll get to this too, but I had Molly, I think we had talked maybe twice, right? But I had this I liked you, I wanted to work with you. We just never saw each other. So I was like, no, I don't want to vote for Molly. In hindsight, knowing that you were so close with Keaton and I felt I was close with Keaton, it was the right vote for me. You just played the LOS.
Well, I was there with you when that happened, and my other option was Isaiah, and I was like, would you prefer Isaiah? And you were like,
and I said, hell no.
No.
So this was the round that Jill went?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I wanted Rayanne going because out of everyone left, Rayanne was the last person I didn't have anything solidified with. And then I think right afterwards they were like, you have to vote someone that you didn't vote. So Rayanne was like, don't vote me. I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely not voting you. I couldn't, but
I couldn't vote for Rayanne. I didn't want to because I was already tight with Rayanne by this point.
I
And
really
this was
wanted
the
to
round.
vote
This was the round where we solidified me, you, and James, right?
So me, Noah, and Rayanne solidified we were tight 3, which was great considering I hadn't talked with Rayanne until round 11, right?
The last one.
Yeah. And so, but I felt really good. We connected really quickly over the double base, and so I was like, "Cool, I'm with you, Rayanne." And then it was a tie. Molly played the LOS, and I had not voted for either, so I could have picked. And Jill, I'm sorry I lied to you and said I had to vote for you, but just in case you stayed, I didn't want you, mad at me.
I knew I wasn't staying. So.
I told the truth. I really didn't have a choice.
Yeah,
I felt
no, I
horrible.
didn't have a choice, but
I was I really
Jill,
trusted
I didn't want to vote you out. We had been working closely together, but I didn't think that's where the votes were going, and I just made the deal with Rayanne.
Yeah,
I was with her at the end of that round too. She was honestly in such good spirits before her elimination. She was like, "I'm fucked," and I was like, I was like, no. And she was like, no. She's like, I'm fucked. It was great though. Jill did. I was so happy that you made Jerry too. I was not gonna do Jill.
I was too.
No, I wanted Jill forever.
I think all you guys are so great, and I had such a good time last night. And you know, I have no hard feelings with anyone, and I can't wait to have more great times with you all. So
yeah,
I feel like that's the Jill staple: win or lose, positive attitude. It doesn't matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really happy to be here. So, and you know, it's a little sneak peek of my next video. So
we're excited to see it. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me on. I'll talk to you guys later. Anyway,
we love you,
Jill.
Jill.
I love you too. Congrats, Molly.
Thank
I
you.
think you're great. Keaton, I think you're great too. So
I understand why you didn't vote for me. We hadn't worked too much together, and I hadn't voted for you, so it was kind of like my options are limited. I'd already tried to mix with Isaiah, so I wasn't going to bring him up, even though we hadn't worked too much together. So it pretty much left you, and then I had to vote for Rayanne on the revote, and I felt so bad because I was in the room and I was working with her. But it worked out in our favor.
Do we know where the jury votes landed before Jill goes?
Oh, I voted for Molly. So
Yeah, it was Noah and Rayanne, I think.
Yeah, me and Rayanne voted Keaton.
Okay.
But Keaton, like you crushed it. Like you came back to the second round. You fought. You deserve to be there. And
For sure you
played
did. Yeah.
a really great game. So, and it was really cool to watch. So
For real, that means a lot.
I typically get all pissed off and don't watch the jury questions, but I had to watch because I had no idea who I was going to vote for.
Me too.
yeah, it was
so
a tough
torn.
choice. But you know, like you killed it, and you know, you were worthy of being there. So, you know, congrats. So, but I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah,
I love you all. So
bye.
All right, so that brought us to the next round, which was the buddy twist. And
let's talk about
resulted
this.
in Genki and Keaton not having buddies. James, I found it interesting with you this round because you had an interesting opportunity.
I had a very interesting opportunity, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of beating my. I don't know. I feel like I did the right thing.
What was the opportunity?
No, I know what you're shaking your head about. I don't think I did the right thing there, but I did the right thing. So the opportunity was the round started, Noah and I in the same room together. We immediately said we would be each other's buddies, and I didn't want everybody to have buddies. So Noah and I started jumping around. And
Well, we basically said, I was like, we got to find people to fake out. It can't be Rayanne because we're tight. Let's fake out anybody else.
Exactly. And so I think Noah, you faked out Genki.
Genki.
And then I ended up in a room with Keaton at the end.
Can I say before that happened, I tried to jump in room 3 because room 2 I don't think had anybody. So it was the first 2 rooms were empty. Everybody was trying to queue into room 3.
Yeah.
I kept leaving and coming back repeatedly, and no one was fucking budging because they were all locked in. So I went to room 1. James joined, and I started begging him to switch to me as a buddy. And I completely understand why he didn't.
Which is why, like, I had the opportunity to switch my buddy to Keaton. Now, you know, I'm good friends with Noah outside the game, so that was one of the reasons why I wasn't going to. But I was tempted to do it because I was like, you know, I mean, Keaton didn't really know at this point how much I had been pushing the votes off of him the whole game because he still thought that Luke played the LOS on him on the room 4 round, rather than it being on Luke. And so I was like, this is something else I can do to solidify my bond with Keaton, but I couldn't do that to Noah. So, and obviously Keaton understood that. He knew, you know, I had made a promise to somebody and I wasn't going to break it. But then because of that, I felt I couldn't vote out Keaton when he was up. I had to vote Genki because I felt, and that was probably my thing. I don't know where the votes landed. I don't know if my vote, if I switched my vote, if Keaton would have gone home or not. But I feel like that's probably one of my biggest mistakes there was voting Genki instead of Keaton.
James, you're so smart.
I agree.
James, you play this game so well. Do you play sober?
Yeah, no, I had Gatorade.
Yep, okay, I get it.
But so did Keaton.
I didn't.
I played out. I was sober. This is the real tea. I don't know if you know this, Louie, because I know a few people have been spreading it around. That whiskey bottle was just fucking watered down tea. So my one drink of the night was the Truly at the beginning to just like chill out, because I was sitting there for 30 minutes with anxiety, and I just wanted to like loosen up a little bit. I was drinking that to like, because my intention at the beginning was to play under the radar, act dumber and drunker and more inept. Not necessarily act drunk, because nobody can act drunk well. I was going to just be not as good as I, could have been. And then my name was out round 2, and then I was up for like the rest of the game. So that didn't really work, but like, I thought to mention that at the jury speech, but I didn't think it would help me.
Most of the time, the pretending to be drunk or not pretending to be drunk, people don't care for it. So yeah.
I wasn't paying attention to any of that.
Yeah,
None of that mattered to me.
I was trying to be extra, just kind of like playing it up because I told my boyfriend it'd be a funny bit. So
everyone should like know this for the future. Everyone is so self-absorbed in what they are doing that if you just don't give a shit about, I never care who says my name. I never care who's pushing for me. I just care about the conversations I'm having and the impact I could have on people that moment. Because if you try to figure out that stuff, you're just wasting time. And I learned it from watching Brent in Heroes vs. Villains 2, how much time he wasted over and over and over again. And he always talks about how wasting time in these games, like trying to figure out who throws your name out, it's never worth it. It's like never worth it.
And I think part of it was because I literally, until the next round, I never heard my name, so that I never was stressed. And obviously people did vote for me at times, but that is what it is. But I never heard it and never got back to me. And I made it a point every time I saw somebody I hadn't talked to before. Like Isaiah, we didn't talk until late in the game.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like we got pretty tight just over music stuff. Like I wasn't even talking game with you. Like we were talking about keyboards and music and stuff. Same with Miss Jill. We were talking music. Like I tried to find something. Hannah, we talked about cats. Like I was trying to find something to just talk to people about. Molly, the 1 or 2 times we did talk, we were talking all about spreadsheets, right? So like that was my thing. Was come into the room. Don't be afraid to throw out a name if you have to, and make sure they go home. But try to make those bonds with people so that when your name possibly could come up, you're not the one that they're thinking about.
Oh God, you're good.
Oh, I was just gonna add something. Along those lines, James. Like, a few days ago, I think I was watching last weekend I was watching a mini, and it was I was commenting in the chat like it was the Drag Queen Alliance, and I was like, oh, this Drag Queen Alliance is over here planning 2 rounds ahead, and these other people are in here talking about music. Like, what are they doing? And somebody like on Podquester was like, no, that's like wrong. That's a good strategy to like actually form bonds with people. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're right. And I'm so wrong about that. Like they're totally right. And so that was something like coming into this game that I was going to be super cognizant of, is that strategy does not being the best strategist does not compensate for social bonds. And so I was very, very hyper aware of that, because I know my propensity to be wrong and over strategize. So I think you had the right mindset there, James.
Like I was actually going to say, I mean, this round especially was kind of interesting because going back to like the personal one-on-one connections, like I connected with James over music, like I knew Johnny because he told me Survivor. I was with Keaton for like a little bit, but like he started doing a lot of sketchy stuff. Like,
what? Keaton was doing sketchy stuff? What?
Yeah, like I give him coins and
straight up the whole game. What are you guys talking about?
And then I connected with Noah, so it was just like I connected with Molly this round, and I was just like, yeah, like I work with it because she was a big threat, and then. It was this round specifically. She was like, "Oh, do you want to be my partner for this round?" I'm like, "Dang, now I'm gonna have to work with her," because it's like I'd rather work with someone who's like not coming for me, like working with me. So I was like, "All right," but
it was
yeah.
It was even like with Rayanne, like we hadn't talked 2/3 of the game. I had even I didn't never vote for her, but I had said, well, we could go for Rayanne at one point just because I had not talked with her. Then the first time we talked, the first thing she says is, double bass is my favorite instrument. And I was like, cool, like we don't even have to talk anymore. Like I'm with you till the end. like that's all.
I love that.
Yeah, if we're gonna talk about social game and stuff, I feel like that's my superpower within any of these types of games. And I think that's what takes me a really long way, because I don't know, I think I consider myself strategic, but I feel like I fly under the radar. People don't think I'm as strategic just due to my social game, because I think I diffuse things.
and for all I know, you lied straight to my face. Like, you might not even know what a double bass is, right? But
oh no, I love double bass.
I'm just kidding. Like, I'm pretty good at reading people. Keaton, when I first interacted with him, he told me the safe word, and then he told me he didn't play the LOS on himself. One of those things seemed like he was being truthful. One seemed like he was lying out of his ass. So I was like, I'm going to go with him on this safe word. It seems like he's being genuine. It seems like he's lying about the LOS. If he's genuine about the safe word, I'm with him the rest of the game. And he was being truthful about the safe word. And I didn't care he lied about the LOS. I would have lied about the LOS too. But the fact that I could read him meant that I was like, I'm good with staying with him for a while.
Also, really quick. Oh, go ahead, Johnny.
I was just gonna say, even based off of that, like something I give so much advice, and I'm not playing a Patron game now for fucking ever. So like, one of the biggest pieces of advice I get is like, if someone says in their intro video they can do a Rubik's Cube in under 30 seconds, you can do a Rubik's Cube in under 30 seconds. If someone says they play bass, you play bass. Like, that's literally just all you have to do, because when you have those opportunities, like literally jump into a room in the first round of the game and be like, oh my God, like Rayan, I loved your video. I'm a stoner also. And like, that's it. Like, that's all you have to say. And like, then you have that little bond with someone and they just like connect with you like that way. Like, that's literally how you wrap everyone into you so quickly, because like I said, everyone is so self-interested when you play these minis. So if you just say that to someone, that's all they remember. And then you keep them in.
You just need a way to stand out from everyone else. If you can find a way to make yourself memorable in a field of 22 or whatever it is, you're at an automatic advantage.
Because in this round, I was so tight with Genki early on in the game. I had an alliance with him. Probably it was like round 6 or 7. So this round, I felt horrible that I just ended up in a room with him and I had to lie to him. I saw his face. I saw how scared he was. I knew he didn't have a partner, and I knew he would agree to be my partner. So when the votes started going, I ended up in a room with almost everybody and Genki, and I was like, okay, we have the votes for Keaton. Let's do Keaton. Let's do Keaton. And then I go and I'm talking to Rihanna and James, and they want to do Genki. I'm like, guys, this is a horrible idea. We can't do Genki. I can work with him. I can't work with Keaton. We saw what happened in the coming rounds after they chose to keep Keaton.
Well,
I was curious on why I got kept over Genki, because I was.
Me too.
I will talk on it.
I would love to.
First of all, like this round, I was partnering with Johnny no matter what, just because I don't think I was able to get to. I don't think I made final 2 if without Johnny in the final 4. I would have, like, if I made it there. I don't think I needed him. So I was more looking to take out smaller threats at that point, or people who would maybe make it to the final 4 over me, who would make it to like be like the drag at 3. So I want to take out Genki, and I was going for him the whole time, so it made sense.
I was going for Keaton the whole time. Why'd you get your way?
Genki was throwing my name out a lot, and I get my way.
So this was my like one of my missteps, along with, well, really it wasn't like Molly made the excellent LOS play, because I knew going into jury, I knew that Jill, Molly, Genki, Keaton, and Greg were in a starting room. I got that from Jill round 1. So I was trying to figure out who was in starting room so I could know who we needed to split up. So I knew there was a group of 3 going into the jury phase. Both Genki and Keaton being in there, honestly, I was okay with either one going. But being in that room with Keaton and promising him I wouldn't vote for him, I went Genki.
I wish I had really pushed that I was tight with Genki and that I had him.
So I think
like
that was
maybe that could have worked in my favor.
That was our misstep. Was we were so happy to finally be alone in a room together that we didn't actually talk strategy.
Well, and we were concerned about our other alliances, and we didn't do enough like talking about our own alliances with each other.
Yeah.
Can I just comment back on the social thing? I do apologize a lot to all of you for not making the personal connections, because like I really got, I don't want to say game body, but I was very like strategically minded from like the second round forward.
I barely saw you.
So. I was trying to think, like, Noah, like you were from Ontario or whatever. I was going to talk to you. Like I lived in Brampton for a while. I don't know if you know.
Whoa.
Well, like Keaton, to pardon yourself, like you don't have to play that way. Like that, it's not your job to play more of a social game than a strategic.
Yeah, and you were target round 2. You had to save yourself with an LOS, so you didn't have the luxury of sitting back really at that point.
So I had connections with you guys in a strategic standpoint, and I could kind of read how you guys were from that, like as people, like I know Johnny was gassing me up the whole time. Like we were gassing each other up. I knew the final 2 thing was bullshit, by the way.
Well, I only had 2 final 2 deals, and I was trying to 3, but Hannah got and I was trying to not vote either of you out, which I stuck to. So I felt like I was kind of loyal at the end of the day.
Well, and Keaton, I am a strategist by nature. Like that's how my brain works. So it's really, I felt connected to you because that's how you were.
Yeah.
Like that means more to me than a contrived connection a lot of the time. So that's one of the reasons that we clicked well.
And
because of that.
Yeah, and I'll echo that. I mean, I felt the same way. And honestly, like I was using you as my strategist, so to say. Like I had my own strategy. I had my own things. Was like, number 1, keep Keaton safe. He's pulling heat. I can take him far and then, cut him when I need to. And it was also like, that's how I was able to push the vote on Luke at the round when you guys were locked in the room. I went room to room saying, look, Keaton played an LOS round 2. He probably has an LOS and he's going to play it on himself. So we need to vote somebody else. Let's vote Luke. And I got people to change their vote to Luke. Now, unfortunately, Luke played the LOS and took out one of my closest allies in Andrew, and that kind of made me bad. But, you can't plan for all of that. But that was my goal. Yeah, you're welcome, Johnny. No, I'm just kidding. But that was my goal, was like, I got Keaton. I trust Keaton because he gave me that safe word. He saved me later. Like, I'm going to do what I can to save him back. And because you were such a good strategist with that, I felt more comfortable being able to try to make the social bonds with people, because I knew later I can connect back up with Keaton and see where the vote's going. What's going on? Who was coming after Keaton? Like, let me let him know that Flea was coming after him during the mute round, right? Like, that was my thing, was utilizing Keaton as my strategy and then making social bonds with other people.
For sure. And I felt connected to all of you guys, and I tried to take everyone as far as possible. Genki was like the first time where obviously it had to be me or him, right. And I hadn't talked to him too much. And I, luckily enough, you guys liked me enough that I got kept over, even if it was for the sake of having a shield. But I just wanted to clarify that.
I voted for you.
Glad we get to talk now that the game's over.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun.
Everyone's casts are normally really close. I have a lot of faith about this cast. This was such a cool group of people, I feel like.
I agree.
I also gaslight people for a living, Keaton. It's not even like I can do enough in Sequester, so you'll be getting a lot more of that from me.
Final 2, which might have happened by this point. Like, Johnny got me in a room by ourselves. He's like, hey, do you have a final 2? I was like, no. And he was like, do you want a final 2? And I'm like, I was literally about to hop rooms. So I was like, yeah, sure. Or something like that. We were both just full of shit, I think.
No, does that conversation sound familiar?
Because I had like a group of friends watching, and they fucking clipped it. And as soon as I left the room, Johnny was like, oh, too bad I already got 2 other deals going. So like, I'm glad I kind of caught that. So like, I could work with Johnny, but I just, there's that tidbit of like,
yeah, and to defend myself there, when I try to make those kinds of deals, I really, really, really try to not fuck people over. I think I made my final 2 with you after Hannah went. And then at that point, I only had a final 2 with Noah. I thought he was being a little quieter. I thought he was going to get picked off around like 7 or 6. And I knew you would be closer to the end of the game, so like I wasn't sure. So I made an insurance plan. I was really not intending on like fucking over my deals, but I had to make a ton of them, obviously, because I was in like a very particular spot this game.
You the final 2? Maybe you did. I wasn't taking you to the final 2.
I mean, of course you weren't, but I had to make as many deals as possible to just try to make as many rounds as possible that you would not say my name.
Yeah,
like eventually, I figured as many.
Oh, I said your name super early on. Early on, and it got shut down. I was so pissed.
Well, it's cool because I didn't make it to the end anyway, so it's fine.
So moving on to the next round, which was the alphabet poop round.
Worst twist in the world.
Yeah. So
I love this
M
twist.
Or N to Z. So essentially, Rayanne and Noah were automatically
my 2
safe.
closest allies could
votes.
only vote for each other.
And this
all you had to do was
ended
stay
up-
safe, James.
I know. That's all I had to do.
I felt, I know this round I had to like be really shitty to James, but like it felt really cool because there was no remotes. Everybody hopped in, and everybody said, "Keaton, who do you want? Who do you want? Do you want Johnny?" And you guys were like, "Do you want Johnny?" And Johnny was like, "No, do you want Molly?" And I was just like this, and you guys kept like asking like, "Who do you want?" And I was like, "James." And the reason I thought that, and like, if this logic doesn't hold up, then like let me know. But I knew if I went with Johnny or Molly, who were like bigger targets, I knew they had people coming after them at some point. That's what I felt. I felt like if I got rid of either one of them, like if I got rid of Molly, like James had suggested, Johnny would have come after me immediately. I feel like he would have done that. And if not, I felt like Isaiah, Noah, James, and probably Rayanne, they would have come after me as well. So I tried to keep in people that I was closer to and also would be less likely to vote me out because I was also a shield for them at the same time.
Yeah. So in hindsight, this was by far my biggest misplay because, well, first of all, I wasn't in a room with anybody else with my letters. So like I was last one coming in to the room. And then second of all, Keaton, like you threw my name out, so I should have gone for you, right? Like that's my play then, because otherwise I'm trying to do what?
Surprised nobody said my name at all.
Right.
Like
yeah, in hindsight, like I wasn't even. And I think it's just because like the psychological thing of just coming out of a round where I was so adamant that like I felt bad and I wasn't voting for you, then going into the next round, my mind is still in that set. So I'm like, it's not even contemplating it. But that was my move, was if I could try to put it on you. Because in that case, then Isaiah, I felt good with, and I felt like he could vote with me. And so in that point, I'm trying to get either Johnny or Molly to flip onto you. And I feel like in hindsight, that was way more likely. Still might not have happened, but more likely by me saying Johnny, it required either Molly or you, Keaton, to flip onto Johnny. And Keaton you're the one that was throwing my name out. You're not going to flip onto Johnny. So like in hindsight, that's what I should have done.
Yeah.
I will say I did vote Johnny.
I was
You
limited
did
on
vote me that round, Isaiah?
Like I said,
I played the LOS and it was unsuccessful. So
I was also worried about that a little bit.
I have no idea how it was unsuccessful.
Because
I voted for James.
Keaton and Molly both voted for me with you.
Okay.
Yep.
Because Johnny, when the next round when I said you convinced me, like you legitimately convinced me. I was like, shoot, Johnny,
Well, 'cause
like
you
he might just be trying to save himself, but he's right. Like I need
Yeah.
him here right now.
Yeah, you convinced me to pivot too because like I was so going after you, and then you convinced me to pivot and vote for James, who I really did not want to vote for at all.
And that was very pivotal for me, was not reading that interaction. And I feel like I don't know if I could have convinced either you or Johnny, or you, Molly, if I could have convinced you guys to go for Keaton. I don't think Molly, I definitely couldn't have convinced. Johnny, probably not. Maybe, I don't know.
Invincible. If anyone's making me a pick in any game ever, I will listen to it no matter what. I will vote for any, like, it depends on the situation. Because there are people who I won't vote for, obviously. Like, when I make deals to people, I really try to keep them. But most of the time, I'm pretty effing open-minded. Even if I'm pushing a name and I think there's another option that you're trying to present, I'm all over it.
So I feel like that was my biggest misplay. But I felt good going into the round because I knew I had Noah, I had Rayanne, I felt pretty good with Isaiah, and I felt good with Keaton because I just saved him. But I had still knew that, and what I really underestimated was the bond that Keaton, like you guys got in that room for lockdown, right? I knew that you and Molly were in a starting room together, but I forgot, like I wasn't looking back at my notes on the room 4 thing, and I forgot you guys were stuck there too. And that I feel like really bonded you guys. And so it wasn't until really late after Molly played the LOS, because even in that round, I wasn't wanting to vote Molly. It was after that round, I was like, oh, like I'm glad I voted Molly. Too bad she played the LOS. That would have been really good for me if she went there. But here in round 7, I'm thinking I got Noah, I got Rayanne, I got Isaiah. Like I'm good. And then twist happens, Rayanne and Noah can't vote with me.
Yeah, I just knew that we, like the 3 of us, for sure were going to get picked off next, and they saw that as well. And I got really lucky because James, I knew you were smart enough to think to do that if like somebody else went out. Like I had to do that, and like even I felt shitty about it because like I said, like I never went after you until like I literally had to, when it was diverging paths. I had to pick one.
And I wasn't like, and I'll say now too about the jury vote. Like it wasn't, I went into that jury vote undecided. And I will say this, it was the question about who are you closest to in the game and who are you not closest with, or who do you have the least like interactions with. And Keaton, it wasn't so much that you said you were closest to me, because I could see that, like you had been with me since round 2. But it was Molly saying that she, of all the jurors, I was the one that she was least with, like had least connections with. Because I honestly put like maybe round 3 or 4, I put my top 4 people I was willing to work with based off the interactions I had with them. And Molly was in that top 4. So like I felt I had good social connections with Molly. So my thought process was, if I felt that early that I had good social connections with Molly, and obviously we didn't see each other a lot during the game. That was just random, happenstance. But if I felt good with Molly, and yet I was the juror that she was least connected to, what does that say about her social game? That she was able to make such good connections with everybody to the point where the person she was least connected with had her in the top 4 people he wanted to work with. Plus, I felt like Molly made a lot of good moves, and Keaton, you did really great. But I just that was kind of where my head went there. So
I was hoping I got you, but I completely understand that I didn't, because something that got me in the end was I didn't see a lot of Molly's game, and I saw a lot of good moves that she did, and we collaborated on a lot of them. It's well, I can't mention the good moves that we did. I didn't want to go into it
Yeah. And you both had successful LOS plays. You both played all out really good. But I just wanted to be clear, it was by no means was I bitter that you took me out. It was your best move at that point in time. It got you to the final 2.
James, I felt it was interesting because I feel like we see this sometimes, at least I do, running, the reunions afterwards, is that sometimes people's games, you're watching them, but they don't go as noticed as they do after the person explains them. And I feel like hearing you today explain your game, I'm even more impressed by what you did last night, whereas we didn't really, it didn't come across as much on screen, but I think you have a really, really solid head for the game.
I was really hoping to get to the final 2 so I could talk about my game, but maybe next time.
Absolutely. Thank you. You're gonna play again?
Yeah. I'll give it a shot again. I had fun.
First time playing again, James. God damn.
Yeah,
James, play again, please. I would watch that.
You have 822 backing you till the day we die.
For sure.
You did really good.
Thanks, guys,
for coming on. All right, so that moved us to the next round, which was now or later. Only 2 votes were cast in this, and it ended up being a tie between Rayanne and Isaiah. There were a lot of fighting for your vote, Johnny, in terms of trying to get you to vote and which way it would go.
I was really, really close to voting too, and my vote would have been to save Rayanne. Unfortunately, even though my outside relationship with Isaiah, I kind of threw him under the bus not threw him under the bus, but I didn't vouch for him to stick with me in the final 7 rounds. So I thought I lost a connection there. So my biggest issue was not having my vote at the final 5, obviously, because I thought I obviously needed that vote. I thought Keaton and Noah would have been with me in a final 5 situation because I had deals with both of them. So I was trying to save my vote, and I didn't want to pick between the 2 of them. That was my biggest thing. But I was so close to voting. I had Isaiah written down. I just didn't click enter.
I'm glad you didn't. Me personally, I actually didn't want to vote Rayanne, but then Rayanne called me out, and I was like, damn. I wanted to do Keaton or something, or Molly, because they were big fucking threat. Yeah, I was like, damn. But then they were like, Isaiah needs to go. I was like, well, I got to target Rayanne now. In retrospect, Rayanne was the only person I didn't get the opportunity to make a one-on-one connection with. So I was like, okay, but that's not really what I wanted to do. But it was the adjust, and I don't like going to wheels, but it is what it is. So
I love the wheel. I'm the wheel king. I see Keaton's name, but I'm the wheel king. Let's make that straight.
Well,
Wheel anymore.
Since I went out this round, my thought process was to get to the end, and I feel like to get to the final 2, I needed Johnny there with me. I wanted Noah there, and I wanted probably Keaton, because I thought Johnny and Keaton would go for each other at that point. And I didn't think he would drag me. So my goal was to get out Isaiah, then Molly. Johnny was already going for Molly a lot, so I felt like Isaiah was the best option. I didn't see a lot of Isaiah's game. I had no real connection to him, so I thought this would be the time where, I feel like next round or this round, he would have tried to take a shot at me. I felt like 6, 5, and 4 would have been time to take me out. So I thought I needed to take my shot now. And no one was saying anything. So
I wish I voted for Isaiah. I did.
In my mind, I wanted to go with a lot of the lower people and then adjust from there, because at this point a lot of my allies like James and Genki, all of them got voted out. So I was just trying to adjust at the moment. And like I didn't want to do Rayanne, but like when you did that, it kind of opened up in my mind that like maybe I would be like a lock for 2, possibly if like I went with like the bigger threats like Johnny, Molly, and Keaton. So I mean, we'll get to that when we get to that round or whatever. But you know, it was just like an adjustment period at this point, and I mean, it just played out the way it did.
I wish I had voted. I wish I had voted for Isaiah. I shouldn't have just let it go to a wheel and let me risk losing my closest ally. I was so scared that I was going to be in trouble next round, which I was. Great help that vote did for me. That I just didn't vote, and it didn't work out.
See, Max, yeah, I would always say, like, if your closest ally is really at risk, like, then you can throw yourself on the sword. And obviously, like, it's all...
I know that now.
Yeah, you can't go back.
I don't know. I honestly thought if I can get to 5, then I can win. So I just wanted to get to 5 with my vote. I thought I should be fine.
For sure.
It happens.
Yeah, I was worried because it was now or later. So I was worried that it would come back next round or the round after next. Like at Final 4, somehow we might lose a vote. So that's why I opted to. Otherwise, it would have kept in Rayanne.
Yeah, because the twist was now or much later. And I was actually really nervous to vote at the final 6 and for some reason not have a vote at the final 4.
I thought it was 4 or 5, yeah.
I felt pretty confident about my intro video knowledge abilities because when I was in the jury room, I rewatched all the videos once. So I wrote down like a bunch of information, which obviously I guess I had more of a luxury to do. But then the twist ended up being Louie or Lou, which was even more in my favor. So.
I was so upset because I would have killed that. I'm the biggest Lou stan.
Audrey explained me Tom, and I sat there and I was like,
I literally guessed all my answers and I got them all right. So like,
oh, see, Isaiah, I thought you were like my super fan all of it. I got so excited. Like Isaiah knows everything about me. I had no idea.
I hate that twist.
Me.
I'm such a fan, and I was so mad at myself for missing that question. Oh my gosh,
I'm
I'm
pissed
so
because
angry.
I'm like a new Sequester fan, so I knew I was fucked. I knew I wasn't gonna know any of the answers.
Well, not.
I'm the meta game now, guys.
Well, now I know. I gotta go watch everything Louie's ever done.
That's awesome, though. You're a twist now, so.
I love being a twist. That was such a boost to my ego.
So Rayanne, I mean, I was very happy to see you there. I think you've proven yet again that, regardless what game you're thrown into, I feel like you're always going to go far. Like you just have a very consistent, as you said, amazing social game, and you're able to intertwine the strategic along with it. How did it feel to get back in after a long?
It's been a long time. I haven't played a full game since like
prom.
Prom I was blacked out, so I don't really count that. But I haven't played like a full patron game since like 5-1, so it's been a really long time. I'm like known in the community, but I don't feel like I'm known for like my gameplay. I feel like I'm just known for personality. So I was glad to like to show like, I had some strategy there. Like there's more to me than just astrology reads.
I was talking about you like a few days before we played. I was like this girl Rayanne who like I feel like I would get along with so much. Like we did the commentary for Winners at War, like like earlier that week. So that was like our first interaction. But I was like, I need to talk to this girl Rayanne and like get close to her because like I feel like we're super similar. And then when I saw you in the game, I was like, this is fate. I was like talking about it on a Zoom call like a few nights before we played. I just wanted to throw that out there because it was like
I was excited to see you.
It was so ironic to me that you were in the game. I was like, oh my god.
I was so excited to play with you. I was so excited. When I saw your video, I was like, yes. And then when you offered me an endgame deal, I was like, oh my god, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
I literally came in thinking like, oh, no one's gonna fucking know me. Like it's been forever. I did I did a 16-second video on purpose so that like I would be like super under the radar, but like nope. Like, literally right when Owen opened his mouth in his video, I was like fuck. So it was fun. I really enjoyed it. I made it farther than I ever have in Sequester, so that was fun. Yeah.
Yay!
Sure, we'll
Congrats
Thank
to
you for
Molly
coming on,
and
Rayanne.
Thank you.
All right.
Really quick, Noah, is this the same thing that you have in your background?
No.
The underwater babies?
No, that's Nirvana.
Oh, I just thought it was Underwater Baby.
I was wondering what the fuck that book was. I was like, what is this book?
No, I'm a swim coach too, so I get gag gifts.
Okay.
Yeah, good stuff. Anyway, I just saw an Underwater Baby in your background, and I got so excited.
That's Nirvana.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm pop culturally illiterate. It's fine.
So, final 5 after the Lou or Louie trivia. Isaiah and Johnny were safe. Johnny, you were so happy for Louie or Lou trivia.
Literally, the second she said what the twist was, I almost just started celebrating because there was no way I lost that.
I didn't even know that because I played as both in All Stars, so I was like,
I was about to say that's what I was most nervous for. Some rounds you played as Louie and some rounds you played as Lou, so I thought it was going to be like a bunch of trick questions about that game specifically, but it wasn't. It was different, so thank God.
Yeah. And so this was the round, so that ended with Noah's elimination. So let's talk a little bit about it.
How did that happen?
I'm gonna have nightmares about this round.
Right?
Who was it between? It was between
I totally don't remember.
Me and Molly.
Oh,
Yeah.
I 100% voted for Molly.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
I thought I had you. You
Yeah,
didn't
I
be happy to
was
vote for me at
thinking
all.
I thought I was gone. I
I
don't know
was thinking
how
about
I
it.
stayed there.
Damn it.
But it was like, all right, I didn't know who's gonna drag me, and then I remember the round before, Noah was like, oh yeah, when you guys out, and I was like, damn. So it was like you and Rayanne for a little bit, and I was like, that round was like, I was like, I want to keep Noah, but like, is he really going to keep me here? So I was like, all right.
I feel like I would have.
Yeah, I think I was. Yeah.
Maybe I got rid of Molly here. I would have been better off.
How is Keaton like surviving all these rounds?
I didn't think I brought up. It was.
I know.
I think I talked. I can't remember honestly, but
you were just silent. You were just sitting there.
Well, that's the thing that I knew from like watching. The first mini I watched was the Survivor one.
Okay.
And Karishma was like, "We're going for Wentworth," and then she dragged Karishma, obviously. So like getting towards this, I know the smartest thing a lot of the time is just shut up. And
I need to learn that shit. I got dragged 2 games.
Yeah, wait. Johnny and
I
Noah.
wanted to go with you, and then you
I
kept
know.
saying me, and I was like, "What the heck?"
No, I know. Okay, I'll talk about that with Final Four. But Johnny and Noah, like, here's what I want to know, like, because you guys were the ones that voted for me. Like, why? Like, I'm not saying it was a bad move.
Because you scared me.
I voted strictly out of loyalty for the deals that I had still in the game at that point.
I was gonna say, like, was I a threat at that point? Was I?
Yeah.
My whole game is just getting to the end. So if I tried to keep the people who I thought would be most loyal to me, like for whatever reason at the Final Four, to the Final Four.
I had no loyalty to you, Molly, like at all. We barely connected through the game, which is just bad luck. Admittedly, that's just bad luck. But I mean, I was scared of you from when the jury started. I voted you at the start of the jury. I knew you were playing a really good under the radar game, and I know that people love the kind of game you were playing. So I was like, I just don't want to go anywhere near the end with you. And I feel like I've seen enough games where people play hard in the final 5 and it can shoot them to a win. Maybe I overplayed my hand a little bit, but I was like, I gotta go for something here. You were the one I had only 2 choices, and I wanted to go for you.
No, that makes sense.
I mean, you had the right reach. You won, so I mean, you know.
I know you guys screwed up.
Yeah. Well, hindsight 2020. Am I right? But I think it was just an easier thing. I had an easier time convincing Molly to vote with me on Noah. Because theoretically, like Isaiah and Johnny could have also just come for me and just decided to start.
That's what I wanted to do.
But the fact that I got Molly on my side to get Noah, which looking back, probably should have just gone for Molly. But, I think I was loyal to Molly the whole time.
Yeah,
so
I was saying.
I understand why you voted.
Jury-wise, but
Loyalty is so important in these games, and the reason why I say that is because Sequester is such a meta game for every game of Sequester you're going to play in the future. So, like, even though, like, certain games you could play totally out of character, which is honestly what I did last night, like, you have to, like, just go with the people that you think are going to be best with you, because you can never predict what a jury is going to do. Even if you think someone's playing better, the person who's been quiet the whole time could pull out the best speech of all time and win the game. So, like, what I say to a lot of people is like, obviously it's not necessarily best for excitement, but like if you play with loyalty, like especially towards the end game, it could get you so far. So like, even though Keaton maybe thought Molly was a bigger threat, and I'm saying this so Keaton doesn't beat himself up over it, but like, if you were loyal to Molly, that was the right decision for you because it got you to the end. Ultimately, she had a better speech than you.
And the two people that I was closest to in this final 3 were Isaiah and Johnny. So I wanted you guys to go with me.
And the 3 of them.
And Keaton and I were good. Keaton was my
It
guy.
should have been a 3v2 so easily.
Isaiah was that swing vote.
See, I wanted to do it, but then it was just like so many mixed signals from the round before. Like I was like, it was just too much.
That was just because I was chat with Rayanne.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. I get what you're saying.
So Noah, how did it feel?
I barely talked in the previous round.
Yeah.
Noah, how did it feel to play the game? How was your overall?
It was fantastic. I mean, this was my first go, and my biggest fear was going out early and not experiencing the game. I just wanted to experience the game. So to make it all the way to Final 5, I'm blown away. I can't believe I did it. And
hell yeah.
Damn, I wanted to win. And I had that like,
then, I assume.
Oh, are you kidding? Absolutely. I'm not done. I got unfinished business.
Yeah.
Because I had that jury, like I was tight with all 4 of those jury members before me. And when I went to the jury, they were like, you were playing so well. I could have won, but
you could have won.
Dang it, Molly.
Thank you for coming on, Noah.
I love you though.
Noah.
Did amazing.
Likewise.
It was a blast.
I love you all. Seriously, if I'm gonna lose to 4 people, like these are the 4 people I would choose. I love the group.
Our finals was awesome.
I mean, I would choose anybody out of like the top 8, but
I like
9 or 10, but
yeah, I like this group a lot.
Or 11 or 12.
Or 11 or 12.
I think this entire weekend of minis was.
I was
great.
also terrified of ending up in like a shitty group. This was such a good group. I was part of such an amazing game. It was an incredible experience. I just wish I found an LOS. But I didn't.
Next time.
Yeah, Donnie, damn it.
You need 2 computers. That's how you got to do it.
I did. Yeah.
That was crazy.
That's what Lauren was telling me. I was talking to Lauren before the game. Oh, I forgot. Louie. Lauren said hi. But,
I love Lauren.
She was telling me to have 2 computers. I was like, well, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
It's hard. Yeah, you don't need. I mean, that's another.
I didn't need them. I didn't need them.
Honestly, this was my first game playing with 2 computers. I don't necessarily know if it made the difference or not, but in my 5 other minis, I got 1 LOS, and then in this one, I got 3. So if you have a way to get like your friend to just give you a second laptop, literally, I only have Skype on the second computer, and I just have the enter key focused, and then with the other computer, I'm always using my left hand to switch rooms. And then that's how, that's the best way to do it because you don't even.
I feel like that would be even more difficult for me. That's a lot.
That was honestly it was the easiest time I had finding LOSs compared to any game I've ever played because I didn't have to look at the keys I was pushing. I didn't have to micromanage where my hands were. It was just one hand was always on the enter key and the other hand was doing all the other stuff.
Next time I'll find one.
There you go. Get another computer now. Thank you.
I love you guys. What an amazing top 4.
I know.
Take care, everybody.
All right, so that brings us to the final 4. It seemed like it was Molly versus Johnny for most of the time. And then we went to yet another wheel for 2 nights in a row.
Was fitting.
Yeah, let's discuss this a little bit and how we got to the eventual boot and drag.
Johnny held me hostage.
I had to.
Honestly, I wanted Johnny to be like, let's take out one of the bigger people, and I was gonna be like, yes. But then there were, I think
I was the big people.
Yeah. Like you obviously, but I feel like I don't know if I would have had a chance against you 3 because all my allies got eliminated prior rounds, and I was just I just got to work with what I got. And at that point, I was I wanted one of you 3, but I feel like if I had a smidget chance, it could have been Johnny since he's won before. So I was all right, maybe Johnny. But then Johnny and Keaton were just let's just do Molly, and I was I
didn't have a choice.
Yeah, if you propose something different, that's how you pivot the final 4 into a totally different conversation. It's
the difference was when Molly said she was going to drag me if I voted her. And
yeah, I mean, the only thing you could have done there was been hey, Johnny, would you do Keaton? And then Molly, would you flip to Keaton? And then Keaton probably would have threatened me, and then I wouldn't have done it. But then it could have been 2-2 in a different way. So it always, honestly, I feel I'm surprised more Final 4s don't turn into 2-2s because if you just if the one person threatens someone and then the other person threatens someone else, there's no out unless the person is taking a huge risk. that the person that's threatening them is actually not going to drag them, which most of the
Exactly.
time, when someone's making a threat, they are being like sincere with the threat that they're making most of the time. And you have to take that verbatim. So it's so hard. I was honestly surprised it went to 2-2. I thought Isaiah was maybe going to side with me there, but
I was hoping he would on the tie.
I didn't want to get dragged. I did not.
And I would have 100%
I
dragged
know
you.
I know he would have, and I knew he probably wasn't going to. I just tried to join in on Johnny a little bit. I knew he wasn't going to change his mind, but I was like, maybe if we both try to convince him.
I thought
who you dragged if you got.
I knew I was going to get asked. I would have dragged Johnny.
Okay.
So I was fucked either way.
Yeah. I mean, here's from my perspective. I have watched a lot of Final Fours, and the Final Four is like, again, strategy nerd, right? Like the Final Four is like my bread and butter, and I love bread, so that's saying a lot. But I, when I was playing in the Sequesters or something with a few people, and I played a few Final Fours, one of the things that I got to experience firsthand was, if you have, I think I was playing with like Angelica and Muna, and they wanted to switch the votes onto somebody so that they wouldn't go to a wheel. And I was really excited when you actually targeted me. I was very happy about that. And like my move could have been, okay, why don't we try and like, why don't I try and convince Johnny to vote someone else? Why don't I try to convince Keaton to vote someone else? But I was like, that's actually not the path that I want to take. I don't want to worry about the fact that they're saying my name, because that means if I can get Isaiah on my side, I'm not going to a wheel. And that's what I don't want. So I was like, I really felt like I played that to my advantage, and I was happy that you went after me. So like, thank you, because that really allowed me to play the way I wanted to.
Yeah.
Because like honestly, if it didn't go that way, like I didn't want to do that originally. Like I thought Kamali and Keaton were like, in my opinion, like the biggest like threats to like win the game. So like I was like, I wanted to go to them. Johnny, I'm not saying nothing. I
know because I kept downplaying myself, so that means it worked somehow.
So it was like, there was like Johnny won before Johnny. I was like, okay, but I was like, it was at that point where, when you kind of threw the first blow, I didn't have much of an adjustment point, because I could have like proposed something different, but that would have also left the door open for Molly to be like, all right, F it, let's just take out Isaiah. So I was just like, all right, I'd rather go with the 50-50 on the wheel like I did the last round that I was like lucky enough to actually come out successful, versus like the 100% Molly would have just dragged me if I did this, and I would have just been screwed.
I love a gambling, man. I love a gambling.
It was the best thing we could do. Like,
honestly, it was just like, it was a lot at that point.
50-50 is better than 100% if I flipped. So
for sure,
I know Johnny would have taken me out. So like,
fuck yeah.
I think I would have made final two if I got out that too. So it was just like,
Keaton, who would you have taken out?
Johnny.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I
wasn't going to take away your win. Fuck that.
I want to talk a little bit about the drag, because I mean, I thought initially that Johnny was in the most trouble, but then Isaiah, you started that you were team fun feeds, and you wanted an entertaining file, and that was the only thing that threw me off, because as soon as you said that, I was like, oh well, Johnny's in then, because he's king of fun feeds.
I'm like the most entertaining Sequester player ever. No.
I 100% used the wrong words there. Like obviously, I think any one of these three in the end would have been amazing to watch regardless. I was in my eyesight, because Johnny and me weren't in the same rooms a lot. So like in my eyesight, I saw Molly and Keaton doing a lot more. So I thought they were playing the best games actively. And not like Johnny's like a bad, he's won before. Johnny knows what he's doing as well. So I was just like, in my eyesight, I didn't know who I was going to vote between these two, versus since I didn't see Johnny as much, I probably wouldn't have voted.
And Isaiah, truthfully, sorry to cut you off.
You're good. I'm done.
Literally, I leveraged our relationship outside the game so much in my own head that every time I saw you come into a room, I just kept leaving, because I was there's no reason to talk to Isaiah, and I didn't get any opportunity to get you one-on-one or even like in a 3-person. I mean, I got you that one time, like you and Jill. I was like, yo, I know both of you. I got you both, and then I just left.
That like carried on for the rest of the game for me. I was like, all right, I'm good with it.
I knew it did. I had to tell you just one time, and then honestly, I know I fucked up our relationship. Final 7, final 6.
That was the points where I was like, all right, I don't know if I could trust Johnny.
Because at that point, I also had 2 final 2 deals. I did not spend much time with you, and I was not trying to fuck over either of my final 2s. Which the best thing about Sequester, you can have 2 final 2 deals because you don't have to vote someone out at the final 3. You just have to vote someone in the final 4. So if you have both of your people in the final 4 with you and you have 2 final 2 deals, I just can't vocally out loud say that I have a final 2 because then it exposes to the other person. They realize I'm playing them. But yeah, I like, honestly, no disrespect for the drag. I honestly really did not expect to make it to the finals in that situation because I feel like I would have been the dragged person anyways because I came in as the twist. And I don't think that was the sole reason. I was really, really, really disappointed that I did not get the opportunity to defend myself. This is now two games in a row where I got to the final 4. I survived the final 4 as the ex-winner. And then the person who got 4th did not give me the opportunity to defend my drag.
I will say I apologize about that because I watched the live commentary afterwards. They were talking about it. I played once before and I got 5th, and I was kind of just like jury after that, so I didn't watch the final 4. The other times I watched was like the Big Brother, the Survivor, all those special ones. So my knowledge when it came to like final 4, like I didn't know that like everyone got to like speak their piece X, Y, and Z. So when it said if you have your final decision, like say final decision, I was like, oh, okay, final decision. Like I had no idea that like everyone was going to get a chance to speak. Like I would have.
That's fair. I think that's very fair. If you didn't know, because it's a relatively new thing. It just started like last season.
It started the first week of June. But,
well, if you've only watched, if you haven't watched
a while, I 100% would have like gave everyone a chance if I knew that.
I feel like honestly, Audrey, like in that situation, did not even explain that like we would then get the chance to refute the drag. You literally.
When I heard that, I felt so bad. I was like, oh, I didn't.
It's cool. I don't know if you would have changed your mind either way. I probably would have just started going off about my gameplay because I was just trying to hide it because I knew the second I got to the finals, I would have exploded.
You did an amazing job though. Like I am so sorry. I had no idea about that part.
Yeah, it's fine. I never like once these games are over. Like the second I'm out of the game, I couldn't give a fuck.
Johnny, you're good.
Yeah.
I left you a message on Skype too. I was like, I'm glad I played with you, Johnny. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, did you message me on Skype? I didn't see.
Check it out later. But yeah.
I'll look at it later, yeah.
Okay.
So after that, it brought us to the final 2 of Keaton and Molly. I felt like I was a bit vocal in this because I thought it was a very even game. I thought I might have leaned slightly Keaton just because of, he had his back against the wall for such a long part of the game. But I also felt like Keaton, no disrespect, I thought you tanked your game at final 2. So I wanted to get your.
No, I know my jury. I knew my jury play was terrible comparatively to Molly. I mean,
I went like 60-40 Keaton to like 75-35 Molly.
Yeah, no, I realized pretty quickly. I started flubbing.
25.
Like,
not math. It's fine.
Having my brain like so long, I was just like,
you had a roller coaster. It's okay.
I wasn't ready for it. I was ready to have like I guess my mindset, and I know like one of my things that fucked me over was like being overconfident, cocky, whatever. I guess that was my plan more so like if I went up against like Johnny or Isaiah, I had like, things in the bank of like, here's my big moves. These were people that I was comfortable having, potentially being in a final 2. It's just Molly, I wasn't as familiar with her game and was probably the dumbest one to go with. But yeah, no, I tanked. I know I tanked. So don't need to dwell on it too much. Did that plenty last night.
And you want to know what? It's really hard to dwell on it when you played a game with 23 people and made it to the final 2, and you were also a target the first round. It's people don't do that. Normally, when your name comes really up, it goes the second, the third, the fourth until you're eliminated. So you were able to shake it. You also had to nominate 6 people and then save 6 people. You like had such a whirlwind of a game. And literally it came down to like half my jury answer and then also half of the fact of like the relationship that Molly and I had through the jury phase, where I really felt like in the final 7 we made like a really big move together to save each other, and then we got all the way to the final 4 together while being against each other the entire time. It wasn't even like a vote. Like normally my votes are like just against people, but like this time it really was not against anybody. It was so in favor of like what she did at the end game. I think your game was so impressive, and it's one of those situations where like there are people like like Janine or like people who lose in the final two who are so heavily talked about that lose to such iconic winners. And like Molly's going to go down as such an iconic winner as time goes on. It's gonna happen. And people are gonna be like, that's the guy that lost to Molly. And like they're gonna say that, and like you're gonna be able to show again and again and again how smart and how good of a player you are. And we're going to talk a little bit about that social game, and then you're going to be even a step level.
Oh, thank you.
It's definitely one of the best final twos, in my opinion. Like,
for sure. You both, I literally was mind blown with how impressed I was by both of your games. Like, normally I'm really not, like, when it comes to whoever's in the final two, but you guys just absolutely smacked it.
Yeah, and it was a thing, too, as, like, I thought about it as we got to the two, and, like, Keaton's moves were very much out there, but then I started thinking about Molly's game and how rock solid it was from start to finish, how you had bonds with just about everybody, and like, you know, it was definitely more of an under the radar game, but it was a very, you know, but it was still a very solid strategic under the radar game, not just hiding and trying to survive. And I think the win was very, very much deserved.
Thank you. Like, it's so cool to hear you, like, sorry, I'm gonna fangirl for a second. Like, it's so cool to hear you say that. Like, to have someone who leads Podquester to say that is like just so cool. Okay, I'll stop now.
I think Molly's game completely spiked up at jury. Like you don't have to play that big of a game until the jury. The biggest thing about Sequester is use that first half of the game to build your relationships and get all of your relationships to the jury phase. And then once you do that, you utilize those relationships to make the strategic moves when it counts, because the people you're sending out of the game in this super impressive fashion are the actual people who are voting at the end. It doesn't matter what happens at the final 12 or 14 or 18 because that person's not there. And when you could make those late game moves, like that's what really sold me. And it comes down to like the type of person and the type of juror and how they vote. But when you turn it up at that jury phase, that really like lets people shine, especially when there's not that many people left in the game and you have that chance to like really come out of your shell. And like Keaton was like voted correctly, I'm pretty sure almost every jury phase vote, maybe all of them.
I think so, except for the ones where I couldn't vote correctly, like based on like history or whatever.
Yeah. So like it depends on the jurors, and it depends on
like the only times I didn't vote correctly were when allies went home, like unexpectedly. That happened a few times.
Yeah.
Can I just throw out there too, because I know I talked about it a lot in jury, but I was maybe a little bit vaguer about it. There's just been a lot of specific instances kind of since I played, because my first ever game was the private RHAP on August 2nd. And there's just been like a lot of moments where I felt like, okay, what could I have done better there, and really tried to learn a lot. So like people in the community that have been like really helping me out, just like watching their game, like people like Renzo, people like Jacob Sparks, like even that comment that somebody made about my comment about Bobkin, I was like, Butler's been huge. Like he was the winner. And I remember thinking like, why should I vote for him? Like I don't know him. And then just seeing all the relationships he had. So I've just been really trying to like watch people's games and learn a lot from them. And I think particularly like last week, I remember Neve and Nicole, I think it was, were in the final two. And Neve and I have met once. But Neve was saying, you know, your worth in the community is not defined by your placement. And I have made like so many, I've done so much already, like in the last two games, and that's not a brag, but I made jury. I've played an LOS successfully. And I feel good about my worth in my game and just who I am. And so I kind of felt like Rick Devens in a sense of playing with house money, where I just felt like, you know, if I go out with an LOS in my pocket, fine, but I'm going to try and win this thing. And I'm just going to do like the big moves to get me there. Even though I was trying to like make them more incognito, I really didn't play scared. And I think that that's something that came from playing for, you know, like this was a repeat time for me, but I just felt like I'm really thankful to the voices in the community that really built me up in there and really got me in the mindset, and also just gave some strategic influence along the way that really helped me to do that well.
Mm-hmm. And to touch on that, two things. One, I'm a huge Survivor fan. So like when they say in Survivor, like play as if you're playing for your second time, that really applies to Sequester. Like I think a lot of people are so focused on like not going out early and like really trying to like avoid, like you just have to play so hard. And she was really encouraging last night. Like Audrey was saying it over the loudspeaker a few times before I even came into the game. Like, oh, the rounds are going to be short. Like, play harder. Blah blah blah. Like all that stuff that Audrey says. Like, even though it's like kind of filibustering to just convince you guys to just like play a little harder. Like, that's what you have to do. And like, that's how you have no regrets when you play. And I always tell people, like, you have to play as hard as you are willing to play and just push those limits. So that was number one. So good job on that. And that happens over time, like with experience. Like you obviously studied up a bit before you decided to play another patron game. Like I came in last place on Thursday and then I came back and played last night. So like it's like a whole turn. Yeah, that fucking twist. That was so good. I went out on the wheel. I didn't even get like voted out. 19 of us went on the wheel and I fucking whatever. And then the second thing is like just like how receptive a lot of the people in the community are to give people advice and like really boost people up. Like it's not even just you, obviously. Like whenever anyone comes to me for advice, I ask them if they want to FaceTime. I ask them if they just want the messages. Like I will
with you.
I give as much advice as I can to anyone who wants to listen to me talk. And like really like just ask people, like if you're like a first-time player, you're in the chat and you like, I don't know how many people are watching this right now. We've been going for 3 hours, but like just ask around and like ask people. Like there are a lot of really nice people in this community that are so willing to give advice. And that's also how you just make connections with people in the community too. Like random people who you might not even know, but you're super impressed with their gameplay. Just shoot them a message. Most of the time people respond, especially if you start hyping them up and you tell them how impressed you are by them, then they'll definitely respond.
That's one of the things that I love about this game so much is the fact that we're all, someone who hasn't played before can speak to I guess there are no 3-time winners, a 2-time winner in no time, right? Like everybody can talk to everybody at any point. And like, it's not like, you watch Survivor and you dream that you may one day be on Survivor. You watch Sequester and you go on Sequester the next week, right? And you're on, the podcast and everything. So you're a part of the community immediately and you're a part of the game immediately, which you can't really say about much else. And maybe as this continues to grow, that's not as possible, but right now we all have that opportunity to be in it immediately, and it's really how much you want to immerse yourself in it, because if you want to immerse yourself in it, it can be a lot for you. So I think
if you don't, like if like there are people who I'm friends with who they're like, I want to play a mini, but I don't want to get so like deep into the community. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, play a mini. I'm like, learn, like get to meet some people, like stay close to your cast. That's really what I did the first month and a half I was in the community. Like I played in 522 and then I had winners at War the next weekend. And like the only people I talked to for like a month and a half were probably some of the winners and most of my 522 cast. And like, once you like get close to the certain people, like your community can expand. But if you're worried about spending too much of your day on Twitter, which I know I am because I work 40 hours a week. Like I'm trying to like you just limit yourself, and like it's all about restraint and like discipline to like have yourself be involved. But if you want to be involved, you should make yourself involved. And anyone who's watching this now 3 hours in is definitely involved.
Speaking of, I want to go around and give all of you a chance to get last thoughts in so we can wrap up, and so I can go wrap up the other podcast that's going on.
Yeah, bless you for doing so much, Louie. Seriously.
For real.
Bless you.
It's so much fun to do.
Wait, can I come
thing.
on for commentaries now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You could come on for commentaries before. We have people who've never played come on for commentaries.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Every time I do Sequester, it's such a highlight of my week. Every time.
How can I get in on that?
You just tell me. You literally DM me and I say, what day would you like to be on? That's the betting process. That's the entire betting process.
I spam Louie's DMs on a very consistent
basis. Johnny Stockton, I'm convinced that he's only doing this to be on podcast. It's like he's just randomly showing up in games because now I have to invite him on.
Gotta get.
All right, but let's go around. Isaiah, how did it feel to play again? I know you played a long time ago. It was like before. It was like the first mini before I started watching.
Yeah, I played April 4th and I got 5th place, and it's only because I thought Final 5 was Final 4 and I completely screwed my game. So I'm glad I got to redo that. I had a lot of fun this time. Hopefully I get another chance. And if you watch Big Brother, check me out on Rob Has a Podcast this Wednesday. I'm gonna do a lot
I need to talk to you. How did you do that? Like, I need to message you about that.
Yeah, just message. We'll talk about it.
Hell yeah.
And congratulations, Molly, again.
Thank you.
Johnny Stockton.
That's me.
I tweeted last night, respect on the name. You like to joke about being the worst winner ever. I don't think you can say that anymore. So sorry.
Yeah, I think last night helped. I mean, I'm not allowed to call myself the worst winner anymore, I guess, maybe after last night, but I like to call myself that as a joke. But I did get it. Honestly, I felt so good after last night's game because I really did not think I was going to survive more than 2 rounds. At all. When the game started and I just jumped in, I was so nervous. I don't get nervous for Sequester, and I was more nervous last night than I've ever been. Like I couldn't eat. I would, like, the second Audrey called me at like she didn't even tell me I was playing until like midday Saturday. And then like when she told me it was happening, I was like, fuck yes, let's go. And I was like literally like in my bed, like just like thinking about what to do the entire time. And it was, I'm so thankful that Audrey let me be a twist. Like that's so cool. And I also got to go far and I got to meet the cast. Like I was so worried about like, I would have been in the group chat and stuff, but if I only survived a round or 2, I would have had no connection with any of these guys whatsoever. So now I have a really good bond and relationship with a lot of these people. I intend on getting very close to all of you. I'm on Zoom calls every night because I don't have a life. So I will, if anyone wants to Zoom or hang out or anything, I'm always down. And this was such a great experience. 3-month anniversary of my win too. So it was, I do well on the 22s, 522, 722, and 822. But yeah.
Look out for Johnny Stockton, September
22nd.
Coming to a screen near you.
Whatever the game is, I'm just applying to it.
Keaton, how about you?
Cool. Wow. I think I did all right first time around. Most of the knowledge comes from Survivor, very basic Big Brother game theory, and then watching a few Sequesters to be familiar with the twists. While Johnny's here, he probably agrees with his opinion. I hope that there's a harder stance on no pre-gaming moving forward, considering that all of us are probably coming back.
Well, that was actually, we should comment on that real quick. They said
right
before the vote, no pre-gaming for winners at war.
Yeah.
I like it.
Molly, that just saved you so much stress in your life. You probably gained 2 years of your life back on that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so just real quick, my friends in like my like normal life, they know me as the friend that never texts them back because I detest being tethered to my phone. So if I had to pregame, like if pregaming was a thing, I would just be like, fine, first boot, bye. I love Sequester, but if it was that much stress, I would prioritize my own mental health over that. So I'm so glad she said that. And I will be adhering to that, very, 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 very strictly for the sake of my mental health and the sake of the mental health of everybody else in that game.
Yeah, I have so many opinions on the winners at war pregame thing. I do think it's really, really great that she's not letting y'all talk. It honestly should span to once the last winner's added. Once the last winner's added, you guys could talk. Obviously, the first game, there wasn't much structure. The second game, there was a little bit more structure in terms of rules for pre-gaming. I think Sequester's going to get it down pat a little bit more as we get a third winners at war and a fourth winners at war. And eventually, I know there was a lot of complaining about winners at war and pre-gaming and stuff, but there's becoming, and I talked about this when I was doing commentary for winners at war, there's now a new meta for pre-gaming that has to form that people need to learn. And ultimately, people who win games, they'll probably have to get advice from past winners, but I don't think the pre-gaming element should be taken out of it. I just think people who turn into winners have to acknowledge that it's something that they have to face to be in a winners at war game. It's not Sequester. It's winners at war. They're two very different.
I agree with you. I didn't have a problem. I realize it's stressful, and I realize if you want to eliminate it for the health of the community, I get it. For me, did I enjoy it? No. Was it worth it? Sure. It's a different game, and you know what you're signing up for. If you don't want to do it, then don't play. But I also don't want to eliminate the fact that despite the pre-gaming, the winners should talk, because I feel like it builds great relationships when you become long-term friends. I consider Susie one of the best friends I have. Johnny Stockton is a very close friend of mine, and I met them because of winners at war and had conversations with them because of that. So despite the pre-gaming process, which is a part of the process, we shouldn't get rid of the communication and the bonds that it builds.
No, I think it should be after the last winner's announced.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to talk to Chrissy. She seems like the coolest human ever, and I cannot wait to talk to her. So
you don't know what future winners are listening to this now. Watch out for that.
Oh, blessing.
No, you know. It's about to be a two-time winner. Just give it a month.
Louie, I'm your biggest stan, even though I got questions about you wrong. So it's fine. I would side with you in an instant.
Louie, I'm so happy we got to meet today, man. This is the first time we've ever gotten to talk.
I know, it's really great.
Maybe I won't get the Louie thing wrong next time.
We're gonna debrief you on all the Louie versus Lou stuff next time. You won't lose
I did like the idea of people like just having no idea and like thinking that's like two people. It's like, oh, there's two people named Lou and Louie.
I knew I saw like I think she put up a picture that was like you and a mustache, and I was like, oh, maybe it's an evil alter ego, and that's what I went off of. Is that Lou is?
It is an evil.
So that's what I went off of, and I just.
It actually started. No, the story real quick behind it was that all previous players who had played before got voted out immediately. So I thought it'd be a funny joke that I'd wear a beard and say I was a new player and like get voted out quickly, but everybody would have a fun laugh. But then I went to the end in a beard, so I felt like I had to keep doing it. So,
it's so good.
Was that your
he randomly shows up? No, I had one before.
Okay.
And I actually, this is the last thing I'm going to say about myself because we got to dismiss this, obviously. But the story behind me with the whole wheel thing, which I forgot to even say last night. I was going to say it somewhere, but my win, there was the round room roulette where you go into rooms and then the wheel spins and whichever room is up for elimination are the people that are up. I went into a room and kept convincing people to leave. And I was like, get out. I was like, get out of here. Like, go. Like, I don't want to be in a room with you. And then I was purposely trying to be in a room by myself at the end of that round, strictly for entertainment and fan purposes. I just wanted people to think I was funny. And then I was getting pissed drunk through the whole game and won the game. So like I became wheel boy. And people were like, he made the dumbest move of any winner ever, which is where the worst winner ever thing comes from. So then I got wheeled out in the redo game of the 522 mini on Thursday. So it was so ironic that I got to play in a wheel twist. And it got drawn first. Can we talk about the odds of that? Like, that's crazy. The fact
that is crazy. That is crazy.
It's very convenient that we got the questioning at the end too, actually.
Oh yeah, I love the wheel. And the Louie thing at the Final Five is honestly crazy, considering there were going to be trivia questions regardless that round.
Yeah, that threw me off too. Are there going to be like trivia questions at 16 people? If like I guess so.
Yeah, right. Like, what are we all just going to submit it? Which maybe she probably would have had it. Honestly, like whoever answered a specific question right would have been safe, and then whoever didn't answer it right would have been wrong. That's what I imagine the twist would have been.
Yeah.
Imagine if we like rolled instant elimination at that point.
Keaton, I'll let you finish because I feel like I interrupted you.
No worries. Because after this being my first outing, I know I got to lay low a little bit. I know Angie talked about that a bit before. I fucking loved Angie when she played. But she said something right, like, okay, I played really hard, whether I wanted to or not, kind of lay low, so probably be a little bit before I play again, but got people forget about me, but at the same time kind of like me if I see people there. So yeah, I do plan to play again in the chat, but it might take a minute. I'm really happy. I'm happy that I lost to Molly of the people in the finals. Also follow my podcast, Saturdays with the Boys. I do a podcast with my best friend. It's starting back up, ideally, like mid next month. We've been on a hiatus because Corona.
Plug that on Twitter. You're probably getting a lot of followers.
Yeah, put it on Twitter. Everybody will follow.
Last two, I was drinking this because I knew my co-host was watching. But I'm just so happy to get a lot of friends out of this. Like I said, I wasn't able to connect with people like I wanted to during the game, but like I liked all the people I played with, and I'm glad that we have like the group chat and I can follow everybody. And now I know Louie and like the other people who were on the commentary, which I got a bit of, who were like, it was so weird having people live tweet about me because that's never happened.
It's something you have to get used to. You have to get used to that.
I was like, wow.
But it's cool that I feel like last night's cast, I really enjoyed the cast last night, not because like I feel like y'all will, if not are already in the community, you all seem like people who are going to be part of the community and like already like seem very interested in doing commentary and like talking about Sequester and playing Sequester again. There's been some minis that people were not like that at all and basically just like disappeared. So I feel like that's a very good sign for all of you that you're going to be stick around and we're going to be seeing you for a long time to come.
Yeah. I just don't want to come back, be an early boot, and then lose my all-star status. So.
I don't think you will.
Yeah, no, I think you do already have probably. If we're just looking at season 3, obviously it's still early, but I think your name is definitely.
Jason's down to find people.
That's the thing. These I didn't watch the first season, but I got like most of the post jury phase of the mini before us. There's a lot of people that are like, like all-star material. I'm like, we'll see if I hold up.
You held up.
We'll see.
You held up, so.
We'll be
Molly,
locked
our
in.
winner, we'll leave it with you for final thoughts.
Cool. Guys, just thanks so much for letting me play. To be fair, I did. This will be my one brag. To be fair, I did always tell my friends that if I could make it to a final 2, I could win. Just because I know that is in my skill wheelhouse with, being a teacher and having to relate to high school students, and then also at the same time having to be very professional too. So I knew I could pull that out. And thank you guys for being people that appreciated my game. And I'm just really thankful for this community in the sense that, there's a lot of characters in this community, and I'm not, somebody who's super dramatic. I'm not someone who is super flashy or anything like that, but I do love to be a nerd. I love spreadsheets. And I felt like this was such a fun game for me because I really felt like I could just be myself, and be enjoyed for being my fullest self. So thank you guys so much for just letting me do that. Shout out to my RHAP Games group. This, just the last year in my life has been kind of a mess in terms of a lot of things that I've been going through, which, everybody is, but Sequester and RHAP and all these things have just been such a saving grace in so many ways. So I just want to thank the community for being so welcoming to someone like me, to someone, or loving to someone like me. And yeah, it was just so much fun, and I can't wait to keep interacting with y'all, whether it's in games or Zoom calls or otherwise. You guys are so great.
Absolutely. Thank you, Molly. You're great. Thank you all for coming on. This was a lot of fun, and I feel like this was a good one. I feel like we unraveled quite a bit on what was a pretty chaotic game. Thank you, as always, to our mods for taking care of the chat. Thank you to Will from America for the theme song. I believe, so the International Mini just ended. Congratulations, Khalid, on your first win. That is great news. We love to see it. We love to see
Khalid!
Yes.
He
I
deserves
lied
it.
to him all day yesterday about not playing, but he's so great. I'm so happy he got his win. Goddamn.
But yeah, so we will be back tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, for the Slumber Party Mini. That should be a lot of fun. Yeah, and that's it. Let's wrap up. Thank you, all of you. Thank you to everyone in the chat. And as always, we will see you out there. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.